the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Right, thank you very much indeed. Very good evening to you. Welcome to the James Whale Show Unleashed, back tonight. I'm so glad to be back. I can't tell you how glad I am to be back. I haven't been terribly well. I have a little breathing problem, but hopefully it will disappear over the next few weeks. But I'm here, unleashed until the end. We're trying to get somebody to come in and do a white privilege test on me, because so many people are apparently suffering with this awful thing called white privilege, and I want to make sure, on top of everything else I'm suffering with, that white privilege isn't one of them.
I caught a bit of it last week for about
Did you?
3 days. I had a block nose and I always felt like I was more privileged than non-white people. It's terrible.
Well, luckily I don't. I don't think I've got white privilege, but if I have,
that's one of the symptoms.
What? Not thinking you have it?
Yeah, that means you probably got a bit.
Anyway, listen. For those of you who have just joined us on Talk Television or radio, good evening. Welcome to the programme. Let me just make it absolutely clear. If you're easily offended and upset, like so many bloody people are these days, this is not a programme for you. This is not a programme that you should be watching or listening. So if you're easily offended, and even by me saying white privilege, or the fact that who's that nutter who's actually trying, I think it's a government minister.
Well, that doesn't narrow it down,
No,
does it?
no, who said that...
They're all nutters.
Illegal immigrants shouldn't be illegal anymore, or something like that, who said that all these people breaking into this country...
Illegal is the new legal.
Apparently they shouldn't be called criminals. The people coming here in the backs of lorries, coming here on rubber boats, are criminals. They're not migrants, they're criminals.
They claim asylum and then they go back a couple of weeks for a 3 months holiday where they're claiming they're in danger.
Yep. You know, and we have to be tough. And I'm getting absolutely sick of this, because I can see... I don't believe in multicultural. I believe in multiracial, but not multicultural, because we all come from different backgrounds over time. And I don't have a problem with that. But if you're going to come and live in Britain, you need to come over here and be part of our culture.
Be British.
You can celebrate any other culture you like, except, in my view, this is my view, except in my view, the misogynistic religious cultures which treat women like second-class citizens. And some women seem to feel quite happy to be treated like that.
And I think you've got to keep the Church of England numero uno, because it's part of the fabric. It is part of the culture of this country. You know, it's the foundation.
But I'm not a Christian, a Muslim,
You are.
a Jew,
You were
or
baptised.
I had no.
And you were circumcised, so you've got belt and braces.
In those days, I was a couple of months old. I had absolutely...
Nevertheless, it all counts.
No,
before
it doesn't
the Lord.
count. That's ridiculous.
Well,
and you're talking as a Jew.
I know. At
Well,
the
stop
moment,
it.
I am. Yeah.
Yeah. But religion is just a thing that is there to divide us, and religion should not be. And there's that other nutter, whoever he is, who is now trying to get Hamas made a non-terrorist organisation.
Did you see he threatened Peter Cardwell? Oh, I wouldn't be surprised if you get the police round. They haven't come. He seemed a ridiculous man. Yeah, Peter had
Did he
him
have
on
the
yesterday.
barrister on?
Yeah, and he was ridiculous, the man. He was like saying, oh, you're ignorant. He was really being rude to Peter, but in a pathetic way. He looked like not a very, like one of those cheap lawyers.
Well, if he was any good at all, he wouldn't be in this
doing that sort of thing.
So listen, if you want to talk about one of these, this is the number to ring: 0344 499 1000. 0344 499 1000. Now let's talk to our first guest before we do anything else. A very good friend, an old friend of mine, Mr. Charlie Mullins, OBE, founder of Pimlico Plumbers, probably the wealthiest plumber in the world. Nice shirt, by the way, Charlie. Very nice shirt. And a man who actually stood me up a couple of weeks ago. But no, I had a nice time, Charlie. It was all right. Lizzie Cundy and I talked about you continually for an hour or so. First of all, how are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, James. Unfortunately, I did let you down last week.
You didn't let me down.
For lunch and that, but hopefully it'll be very soon again. But it's good to see you back on TV.
Yeah, and I'm glad to be here. I have to admit, I'm not as good as I was, but then when you get cancer, eventually you're not going to be. But thank you for your words of encouragement, which you send me. Charlie is one of the nicest guys I know, and I think, and this has just come into my head, Charlie. I've known you for what, nearly 30 years, 20, 30 years, something like that.
Yeah, since I've been 20.
And I think ever since you sold up, although now you're starting a new company called WeFix, which is it's a company very similar that if you need a tradesperson, see,
You could do the advert, walls, doors.
I'm trying to get him to employ me to do the adverts for WeFix.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a private matter. You don't talk about it on the air.
Yeah.
But I think it's actually helping a lot. And I think it was your son talking about it the other day, and he made a really good point, and I wanted to bring it up for all those kids who can't get jobs. You turn up for a job, for an interview, and sit there like this. Well, I don't care really. Well, I just felt you're not going to get a job.
Exactly. He made a good point saying that, you need to turn up and not get your mum and dad and Auntie Mary ringing up for you. Come along in person, be smart, be on time, and find out about the company. But unfortunately, many people, they don't do no homework at all on the company, and they just sit there like that, like a zombie. And if I'm being honest, we don't even bother to interview them. We give them a bit of paper to fill in, and they go, kind of thing.
Tell them to go. I mean, I have to admit, we had some. It's all right, Chuck. I'm not going to identify somebody who was working on this program some time ago, and I got the idea that I said, do you know the sort of program I do? And the guy said no, and he put my name on the screen wrong for a start, spelled it wrong. I said, have you not Googled me or found out? And he no. Well, what the friggin' hell do you want to come into the media for? Or any job at all, without actually doing a bit of research?
But the sad thing is, James, my previous company, allegedly, they're putting all their apprentices off in the next week or so. So there's all the guys and girls that we employed over the years, and evidently they're getting rid of them, all of them, which is heartbreaking to think that, they've gone through 3 or 4 years of training, and these American outfit are just wiping them off.
Why are they doing that? I mean, they're useful once they've been through all that training.
Why are they doing that? Well, it's probably better that they answer it, but the talk is that they're costing them too much money.
Well, now they're trained, you could bring them over to your company.
Would you, sorry, Charlie, to ignore him, would you ever do what West Yorkshire Police is doing, and they're blocking applications from any white British recruit, and they're spending £1.3 million on DEI initiatives? Would you do that?
I don't even know what it means, James. What does it mean?
Well,
diversity, equity and inclusion. It's actually racist in itself because it excludes white people.
I'm taking a test later to see if I suffer with white privilege.
We're not racist. If you're right, you turn up for the job and you've got what we want, then we're interested in you. But there's a lot of sort of oddballs out there that turn up. And
but would you turn somebody away if you were told by the authorities, and that could be the Mayor of London, it could be government, anybody. Yeah. Sorry, but you can't take on anybody who is white. How would you react to that?
Well, I'll just interview whoever I want. Look, we employ who we want to. I don't employ who I'm told to employ. We employ the people that we want to, and irrespective of colour, race, sexuality, we will employ them if we think they've got the drive and the enthusiasm and the willpower to succeed. So, I don't really listen to all this nonsense. And, the Mayor is not my favourite person, as you know, so I certainly won't be taking any notice of him.
But diversity, you won't get the best people. You get the best people through a meritocracy because, if you have diversity and you have to have this many people from this race, this many people from this sex, you're not going to get the best people by definition.
Well, right. I mean, when you're running a business, you do it on the quality of people. You don't do it on, what this person says and what that person says you should do. I mean, if you're either running your own business or you're not. And if you listen to these woke people, you'll go... go woke, go broke is the saying, isn't it?
I mean, the Welsh Government is offering £5,000 to student teachers that are coming from ethnic minorities. So if you're white, you're going to be paying £5,000 more to become a student teacher. I mean, we've gone mad. I mean, we're completely mental, aren't we? Oh, hang on, sorry. You can't use the term mental.
Yeah, well, look, you're right there. I mean, I'm not going to go down the racist route because I'll have all the busybodies, all the pests, all the nuisances that watch your show. Obviously, there's a lot of lovely people that watch your show. No, but you know yourself, James, a lot of oddballs out there.
Yeah.
And they're on the phone to me saying I've said this wrong, done that wrong. All I know is that I'm a successful businessman. We sold the last company for 140 odd mil, and the new company, We Fix London, is doing very well. And we will take on some of these apprentices, but I can't take them all on from the previous company. But you know that is well, I would not have sold the company to them if I'd known that their intention was to get rid of all the apprentices.
Are you serious about that? I mean, are you telling me that quite openly, if you knew what they were going to do, you would not have sold the company?
Undoubtedly would not have sold it. I mean, there's a lot of people left the company. Quite a few of them have joined us now. Yeah, it's just their way. It's just very corporate. You know, it's not a family, personal business no more. Where our one is, and you know, I think that's the difference. We're a family business. We care about the customer. We're not all about the bottom line. We're gonna make profit because we deliver the right service. I
mean, over the next few months, year, depending on Trump, and I have to admit that Donald is beginning to let me down slightly. I don't know who's advising him on what he's doing at the moment, but I think he needs better advisors. If we move on to something else before I lose you as a guest, Charlie, Labour has dropped its commitment. Big story in the House, of course. Labour has dropped its commitment to 5 grooming gang inquiries, which has made it look as if it's almost acceptable in certain places to commit appalling sexual offences against children. What would you say about that?
I don't want to be banned, but look... I
don't want you to be banned either, please.
Well, I'm used to being banned. Well, look, we all know what's going on. It's, you know, it's all behind cover, and I think if it all came out, probably after Labour government would have a job. They're hiding up something. We all know things have gone on. It's just so wrong. And again, this is the position we're in, where you know we're not doing things the correct way no more. We're being led by Starmer, Rayner, Reeves, and all the other busybodies around them, and they're really just not capable of doing the job.
But they're enabling them, aren't they? They're enabling these rapists to continue. They're actually, it's disgusting. It's evil what they're doing, because they're sacrificing these working-class white girls in the name of getting votes and diversity. Yeah. You know, they're almost, well, accessories. Some of them were helping it. Some, there's even rumours of councillors and police being involved in the actual crimes.
You're exactly right. I mean, you know, we know that it's a bad move having Labour Party in there. We knew that was going to be bad. I don't think nobody expected them to be this bad, but let's hope a general election is called early and, you know, Reform and Nigel Farage get in there, because if it carries on the way we are, the country's finished.
Okay, one quickie. Tomorrow, if you'll excuse the expression, not for you.
In the break.
One quickie. If tomorrow Parliament is being recalled, tomorrow's Saturday. I only say that, you might be watching this clip at a different time. And it hasn't been recalled on a Saturday for years.
It's only 5 times since the Second World War.
Yeah.
And the question really is going to be asked, whatever anybody tells you, should we actually renationalise British steel? Because if we don't have a steel industry in this country and a war does break out, or everything gets so expensive to buy it from somewhere else, we're going to be in huge trouble. So, should we, for the moment, re-privatise steel? And should we open up a coal mine, some more oil wells, do some fracking, and make sure that we are not going to be in a situation we are left beholden to other countries?
Yeah, well, undoubtedly. I mean, the more jobs we can create and bring back, then obviously that's the way we bring the revenue in and obviously get people back into work. And I think the main steel guy, evidently he's had enough now. He's a multi-millionaire. He's another one that intends to leave the country. So, you know, when I said, I think 9 months ago when Labour got in, that millionaires, billionaires and you know, just working class people that can afford to get away, they will get away. And, you know, since I think in 9 months that Labour have been in, we've lost 11,300 millionaires, a few billionaires, and that's just the ones we know about. And what have we gained? We've gained 50,000 illegals, and now they say they're not even illegal because they dumped their passport. I had some pest on the radio the other day from LBC and was telling me that, you know, they're asylum seekers. You know, and they've done their thing. Well, you know.
No, I know. Listen, I'm trying not to laugh out loud when you mention those
But if you're a youngster, you need to, in London now, you have to start on 100 grand a year to survive in London, because they'll take 50 grand off you in tax, which leaves you 50 grand. You'll need 25 grand for your rent.
Is that why we have no money?
Yeah. Well, luckily we've probably already paid off but that scooter cost me quite a bit. 25 grand on rent, and that leaves you 25 grand a year just to live in London, which you can't live in London, really.
You got me a mobility scooter.
So 100 grand isn't enough to live in London.
You're losing 50% of your income anyhow.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm in Dubai at the moment, and people are saying to me, what's the attraction here? Well, if I'm in the UK, it's 45% tax. If I'm here, it's no percent tax. No. And I haven't left for any tax reasons. The London WeFix will comply with all the tax regulations we have to. I'm not on the payroll. I'm non-executive chairman, so I'm not avoiding any tax. But, you know, I paid in over 120 million pound in tax, and enough's enough. And I think now's the time to stand up and get together and say to the Labour government, you know, enough is enough. You cannot keep penalising successful people.
Yeah. Charlie, always good to talk. Have a lovely weekend. Enjoy the sunshine there in Dubai, and we will meet up at some point. By the way, we you know, just take it easy. Charlie Mullins, thank you very much indeed. Founder of Pimlico Plumbers and founder now of WeFix. Should we take a short but meaningful break?
Yes, let's.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Okay, welcome back. Me Unleashed, nice to be back. Thank you very much indeed for all the messages you've been sending as well. Sorry.
Thanks,
to some people, I'm still here, but whether they're nice or nasty, I just like getting them. Thank you.
Well, loads of people were calling in saying, you know, they want you.
Nice.
No, they
That's
weren't
nice.
really.
No,
they weren't.
I know. Listen, there is. I will blurt things like that out if you say them in my ear, so I will be very careful if I were you. We just had a breaking news. Hold on, let me bring this to you. Hold on, don't say anything while I take it in, and I just, okay, fine. XMP Michael Fabricant, regular guest on this programme,
Sir Michael Fabricant,
has just been kicked out of the Big Brother house. He's not dead. He has just been kicked. Well, it's more important to a lot of people. He's just been kicked out.
There's a picture
of the Big Brother house, which is a bit of a shame because although it was dull, I've only been watching bits of it. If you're interested, is it Mickey Rourke who's the? He'll win it. He will win it. The person who wins Big Brother is the one who annoys people the most. When I came third, yeah.
But surely Michael Fabricant
would
be that man.
I can't remember. I was there till the last bloody day. I hated every frigging second of it. The interesting thing is that there's an American girl in there. I've no idea who she is, but apparently I'm told she's very famous. And there are a couple of other people in there as well that you will have heard of. But there are people in there I have no idea who they were.
That's normal, isn't it, now? There's only about 3 or 4 you've normally... I haven't seen the lineup, but...
So I think getting rid of Michael Fabricant, probably a bit of a mistake.
They always do that. They get rid of ones that they need for the show. Do you remember when they got rid of Noel Edmond very early on?
Yeah.
Or he left or something.
But I'm pretty sure that... Is it Mickey Rourke? Is it?
Yeah, Mickey Rourke.
Mickey Rourke.
Yeah.
I think he'll win. I'm not telling you to put money on, I'll just say I think he'll win. Right, 0344 499 1000 is our number. You come straight through. I don't want any checks on any of the calls, just put them through.
Yeah.
Okay?
We'll check them.
Just put their names on. We get different people answering the phones regularly, and they've been to university.
Trish is in it.
Oh, yeah, Trish
is in it, our former colleague.
Yeah. Don't
say things in his ear. He'll say... He can't say she's an awful woman. No,
he's allowed to have an opinion.
Yeah, that's his opinion.
You know, and even if somebody is terminally ill with cancer. Yeah. He doesn't have to get on with them.
No.
And I mean...
she was quite pleasant. I only saw her a minute each time every week, but she seemed pleasant.
Well, I didn't see her that long. Can we get on with it? Will you stop it?
Sorry,
you do this all the time.
Helping her out.
Excuse, just 1 minute. Don't come here. Just don't move.
Do you like my purple eyebrows?
You know, just don't. You've got a hair just.
Oh, that's my nose.
Sticking out. I can't. It's terrible, isn't it, when you see a hair sticking
I've got a
out?
ball patch now, there.
No, you haven't.
I have actually, from on those disco balls fell on my face.
Yes.
I was looking up in a nightclub once, and one of those big disco balls fell on it.
Let's go to the calls. Paula in Halifax.
Oh, James.
Paula, what can we do for you?
Wow, how nice to see you.
Good. Well, it's nice to hear you.
I thought that I'd never see you again.
Oh, please, let's not get that depressed.
That's nice.
How are you, Paul? Let me do this, because you haven't been very well. Your mum's not very well. How are you?
I'm okay.
Good.
I'm okay.
You sound a bit better.
Yeah, you know, there's no... I think it was you that made me really depressed. I had a bad...
Sorry.
No, I'm joking with you. I had a couple of bad weeks of... which I refuse to admit.
I actually wondered if it was me, because you never...
It was. It was.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, shut up, Ash.
But yeah, exactly, Paula. Shut up, Ash. But you've got to be positive. If, you know, I've been diagnosed with terminal cancer for 6 years. I had it 25 years ago, 26 years ago first.
Kidney cancer.
Yeah, and you just have to take it in your stride. It's difficult. Trust me, it's difficult.
Yeah.
And I found talking about it on the podcast, everybody does a podcast. You and I should do a podcast.
I watch it regularly.
You can't watch the podcast,
No,
I'm afraid.
but she can imagine it. Yeah. Paula, you sound much better, and that is a great thing.
I feel a lot brighter.
Good. Well, I am really happy about that. Thank you very much indeed, Paula. Let's talk to Gary, who is in West Sussex. Gary, you're on the air.
Hi, James. Nice to see you up and running again.
Gary, what can I do for you?
When we're talking about the migrants and all this all coming here, we don't probably want them here necessarily.
Well, Gary, we don't want anybody here illegally, do we?
No. Yes.
Oh, sorry, Gary. You want illegals coming into this country? Why? What's wrong with you?
No, you've got the wrong end of the stick. It's not that. It's because whoever is coming here, the more people coming here, they are going to make England sink UK is going to go blah, 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 blah.
Bye-bye, Gary. When you're intelligent, ring back. But at the moment, you're just talking rubbish, complete and utter rubbish.
In a metaphorical way, he's correct, because they're diluting the population and the culture.
I've got to do this. Wipe the switchboard off now. Just so everybody off. Wipe everybody off the switchboard. I only want those of you with a decent argument, OK? Those of you who can give me one good reason why we should want people to come here illegally, like Gary wanted, and why on earth we are actually now considering, or our ridiculously stupid government is considering, having people who come here illegally made legal.
Well, even the legal ones, we had 1.6 million last year, which is unbelievable, or the year before. Oh, right, 1 million net, but 1.6 million gross.
Just a minute. Don't forget what you're doing. Put that Gary on the air straight now to me.
Gary?
Can you hear me, Gary?
He's there. Gaz?
Gary?
Look,
I finished with you. Goodbye, Gary. No, put the phone down. When I finish with a caller on my show, Gary, that's it.
I think he was trying to tell you something.
Don't keep ringing back. OK, because that really annoys me, because what you do is you put the phone on recall all the time, and other people can't get through. Yeah, you came on, Gary, in my opinion, it's only my opinion, you just talk rubbish.
And you weren't snappy enough, Gary. You've got to be more snappy.
Hang on, we got a voice now.
Oh, the Panasonic's flashing.
Having all options on the table is my number one priority. For the national interest of Britain has to have British Steel under not necessarily nationalisation, but dictating that private businesses have to use Scunthorpe
Remove
steel.
This idiot, because whoever he is, if he thinks that was Keir Starmer, please get another job if you're one of those idiots who do...
I thought that was him, I think.
Oh, no, it wasn't Keir Starmer. Do you know, when I'm sort of on my own doing nothing, I tend to get into things on Facebook or...
Oh, yeah.
Like
so what you've been
the
getting
reels.
Into,
well, the stupid, ignorant, appalling tourists that come to this country, then they go to see the horse guards, and the way they behave around the horses...
And they bite them, don't they?
You know, these guys are brave soldiers sitting there. They're targets, unfortunately, for terrorists as well. Yeah. And people come on... Excuse me 1 minute. Don't let me forget what I was talking. Gary, I've told you goodbye. Goodbye. You won't get through to me. Oh, Gary! Gary!
That's more like it, Gary.
Gary, you are not wanted on this show as a listener, a caller, a viewer, or whatever, OK?
You can fax us.
So I'm being quite honest with you, Gary.
Yeah.
Goodbye. Take a break.
across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Right, good evening. Welcome back. James will unleash. Hola to those of you watching in Spain, is that right?
Hola, yeah.
What was I talking about? I've forgotten completely.
About the guards, the horse guards.
Yeah, and people, there was... I don't like magicians. I'm sorry, guys, but they're all tricks,
Paul
okay?
Daniels was good.
And he was a nice bloke. I like Paul.
That's magic.
But they come... When you're in a restaurant or something, and they're one of those, and they come to the table you're at,
yeah.
and I have to admit, I did once ask one to leave, and my wife got quite cross with me. But that's another story.
Do you remember the one here you had a fracas with?
Yeah,
He was very good, though.
Well, I didn't think he was. But one went up to one of the king's horses in Horse Guards.
And the king's men.
And held this lighted torch under the horse's nose and then made it disappear. And was terribly surprised and indignant when an armed police officer had him away.
And even the guards will attack you. I mean, they are trained soldiers. People think they're just like Disney characters. They're real soldiers who some of them have been on tour. And
if you want to go and pay your respects to them, do. But don't go up there like the stupid little pillocks that some of these tourists are.
Even the horses will bite you if they don't like. They have a sense, a horse sense.
Now, let me tell my next guest, a good friend of mine as well, Mr. Uri Geller, is not a magician, and I get really offended on his behalf. He is known for all kinds of things. He's if I said he's a mentalist, I mean he uses his mind to do all kinds of things. Everybody knows about spoon bending, but I wonder if you know that his past work includes things like CIA's Stargate project, where Uri said Iran's facilities are hidden in massive underground.
He did a remote viewing
tunnels
tests for the CIA and was successful in them.
Yeah, various other things. Now, there's a story going in the Mail tomorrow, which I want to talk to Uri a little bit about. Uri, good evening. Hello, Uri.
Erev Tov.
Hi, James. Hi, Ash. Erev Tov from the Holy Land, Israel.
You're in your museum, I see.
Yes, I am. And you're calling me because you must have seen the Daily Mail, the article that I have written.
I've heard on the grapevine. I think it's going in tomorrow.
Well, it was online today. It's going in tomorrow.
Yeah.
And basically, it's quite shocking.
Can I just before you say it, there might be people who are watching, who are listening, who get very upset about what you're going to say. And sometimes Uri's wrong. I'm not saying he's, he's more often right than wrong. But it can be, what you're about to reveal is quite upsetting, isn't it?
It is. And if you're not ready to hear what I'm about to say, I'm sending you now telepathically so you can turn to another channel. Okay. Look, James, the end of the monarchy would be the most catastrophic, probably the most catastrophic blow possible for Britain. Nothing could be more destructive or disastrous. Now, look, you have to understand this. As a loyal British subject, which I am, of the Crown, and a committed royalist, yes? Because I know a lot of royals. I dread the idea of it, but my proven psychic senses are warning me with increasing urgency, James, that the UK is on the brink of losing its greatest institution, the royal family, and with this, its very identity. I foresee, and in a moment I'll tell you how I did this, I foresee Britain ripped apart in the wake of Russian dirty tricks and an unprecedented royal scandal resulting in riots, seismic political repercussions, and unimaginable, James, unimaginable harm to our international standing. Now, I, along with more than probably 2 billion people around the planet, we all watched the coronation at Westminster Abbey. I'm sure you watched it too. Now, at the most sacred moment of the ceremony, when the monarch was anointed with holy oil from Jerusalem, if you didn't know that, a screen shielded him from the gaze of the audience and the cameras. That was the moment, James, that I probed his mind. Look, I've spent my life projecting my mind through space and time, using a paranormal technique known as remote viewing, seeing places that are hidden from most people and sensing events that still did not happen. So let's go into the core of the matter now. I want to show you something just to remind everyone. This was, look, can you see this photograph? If you remember.
Bring it nearer there, yeah.
Yeah, stay there.
Yeah.
This was the coronation.
Can't see it on the radio.
That's
for people
the coronation,
on the radio.
him sitting down with the screen around it, yeah.
Yes, and they're putting up the screens, and this is me, just explain to the people that do not see you on TV. This is me projecting my mind through space and time. Now comes the shocking revelation. Russian intelligence agents have compromised the British government at a very high level. Secrets of national importance are being traded, by the way, to the Kremlin. I know this because I mentally watched it happen. I can describe James' rooms where mobile phones are prohibited and whispered conversations took place. I even followed moles, spies, out of their offices and into their cars where meetings with Russian agents were held.
Do you know,
let me finish.
Go on.
As they drove down Parliament Street. Now, in addition to this, listening software, let me teach everyone something. Maybe you don't know this. Listening software has been inserted into smartphones used by political aides, civil servants who report directly to Keir Starmer. Phones can be devastating espionage tools. Not only can spies eavesdrop on conversations, on top secret conversation, they can read every text, even encrypted messages apps like WhatsApp, Telegram, Signal. And I'm finishing.
It's Israeli technology.
I agree. Listen, the thing is, I think you probably don't realize that the majority of people, I think, understand this. I don't think the Labour Party and the Conservative Party can be as stupid and the others as they are if they hadn't been governed by some external power, because I hope that the majority of people in Parliament are not representative of the majority of people in this country.
Well, I'm not sure about this. Let me just finish about the cameras. These mobile phones, the cameras, they can record video while the user is completely unaware. Now, look at my phone, for instance. I have a little slider here. So I shut the lens of my telephone on both sides, because you can be filmed here, and if you look up there, James, we'll move the camera for a moment. I did not throw any of my phones for 55 years. There is a phone there that I used when I worked with the CIA, and it has a red tape on the lens, so I will not be able to allow the enemy to photograph me or film me.
But you know,
by the way,
the problem, listen, the problem, Uri, is that I am really concerned that our enemies, whoever they may be, at any time in the future from now, can actually start a world conflict without us even realizing, which is the reason why I want to talk about it on Unleashed tonight, because nobody is talking about it. People are not making... The fact is that I think the Mayor of London probably wouldn't have got in if... I mean, I don't know. This is my view, my thought, my personal belief. There are people who got into positions of authority in this country who absolutely shouldn't be anywhere near control.
Well, Keir Starmer went to a Czechoslovakian sort of KGB camp in the 80s when it was still communist with Corbyn, and they found notes recently saying Corbyn's no use, but Keir Starmer might be useful, so it could be even at the very top.
Well, let me add, James and Ash, that many politicians and public figures are hopelessly naive about this. In particular, certain members of the royal family. They have been careless in matters of security. So this is the core of the devastating part of what might happen to England. I can see this. I can visualize this. I've done remote viewing for over 50 years successfully.
Is there anything we can do about it?
Is there anything specific about the royal family that you can tell us then, that you found out?
Well, I hope somebody in the royal family is watching it, and the next time they go to see the king, the security guards tell the guests, leave your phones outside the room. Don't take them into the into the meeting rooms. And these are little tiny things that they don't really do. MI5, MI6, SIS, they are aware of this, but I don't think there's anyone in power to instruct them, hey, we've got to keep secrets, especially from that are happening in the royal family. And boy, things are happening there. I know that.
All right.
Do you know about the Pegasus software, the Israeli software that is sold to governments? Yeah, because that can do anything with your phone without you even opening anything.
Anything. And you know what? You don't even know that the Pegasus has been installed and instilled into your phone. You don't know it. And this is it. Everybody has a lens. Everybody's a journalist today. But you don't understand that someone in Russia, someone in China can activate it and film you in your bedroom.
I have to carry on because we're going to run out of time. I want you to tell me this. You say you have visualized that if we are not very careful, and I'm beginning to worry all this tariff stuff that Trump's involved in doesn't seem very clever, but you are saying that Iran is on the brink of launching a nuclear attack on the US.
Absolutely. Listen, most people don't know this, but there are about 2 million containers arriving in America. Do you know that out of those 2 million containers, only 1.5% or 2% maximum are being checked? How easy it is to place a nuclear device in one of those containers that they offload in Florida, in New Jersey. I mean, it's unbelievably easy to get a nuclear bomb into America or any other city. Paris, London.
Well, there were rumours about those giant drones that were all over America. People were saying they're looking for a dirty bomb, and then that all went quiet.
That's right. I know more about it. I cannot talk about it, but the Iranians are this close in producing a few bombs, a few nuclear weapons, and then you don't know. The Ayatollahs might hear a voice.
Have you made sure that the advisors to Donald Trump know?
Yes, absolutely. Good. My open letter to Donald Trump landed on his table. He read it, and that's where I can't discuss anymore. Let's not go there.
Uri, we've got to go for a break. Thank you very much indeed. Talk to you soon, my friend.
Happy Pesach as well for tomorrow.
All right, okay.
Pesach. Go and get the chometz.
All right. Thank you very much indeed to Uri. Some people are saying, why isn't Uri in charge, and why, and can he really bend? A lot of people never ever saw him. A completely new generation. Uri was incredibly famous in the 70s, 80s, 90s.
Worldwide as well.
Yeah.
On the Johnny Carson show, wasn't he? I remember that.
Uri should run for London Mayor next time. Uri is coming across a little unhinged. I don't think so. This is the problem. When people say things that you don't like, and when it frightens you, and this frightens me, and I actually see the way things are going at the moment, we are getting rid of everything. I don't know where that Ed, what's his name is, but he needs
he looks like he's gone, the way his eyes look, and playing his ukulele.
He's giving this country away to everybody else.
He's bankrupting us.
Yeah. And the fact is that we are not prepared in any way, shape or form to protect ourselves in this nation. We cannot provide ourselves with fuel. Yeah. We cannot manufacture weaponry. All of this we need to do now.
And he's blocking the fracking pipes, so future governments, if they decide to do it, can't do it, which is outrageously and vandalism. We might need for national security our own supply.
Right, more calls right after this.
UK. On DAB+. On your smart speaker. On your smart TV. And on your side. This is Talk.
Yes, it is. Somebody said my teeth are not nearly as white as Charlie's.
His teeth have a lot of white privilege, don't they?
They're normal. Well, not that Charlie's aren't, obviously, but, you know, I probably should ask him which toothpaste he uses.
He paints them.
Does he?
Dulex.
Oh,
Dulex.
Right.
Not
Durex.
Not Durex.
One trap mind, haven't you? Right, get the calls. We'll start taking the calls. Going to talk to Violetta in a moment. After the 11 o'clock news, will be taking a test to see if I suffer from white privilege. I don't know that I do suffer from white privilege, but apparently I'm exactly the sort of person who might. Right, Violetta, good evening in St Albans.
Oh, wow. Good evening. Nice to talk to you again after your holiday and driving lessons and stuff like that. Okie doke.
What?
Now.
Driving lessons?
Bye-bye, Violetta. Talking complete and utter nonsense. Tony in Lancashire, you're on the air. Hello, Tony.
Hi, good evening, Sir James and Ash. You're looking good, by the way. Anyway,
And James is.
Yeah, I just like to quick ask. I can't get my head around. Like last year, they sent one boat back to France. Yeah, because I'm sure it were on Kevin's programme where they mentioned where they sent one boat back to France, and no one complained. But anyway, so why can this government not get a backbone and say to Macron, right, if you don't take these illegals back, we will revoke your fishing licence. I'm not happy with France at the moment because talking about. They want more fishing licence to our shores.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Listen, Tony, I hate to say this, Tony, but I totally agree with you. Totally.
We stopped it from Belgium. We can do it exactly the same way in France, but of course they want them to leave and come here. They can't stand us, especially after Brexit.
I agree with Jeremy Kyle on one of his shows as well, where he doesn't like the French people. I'm sure he said that. I'm with him. I don't like them. They've always treated us like there's no tomorrow.
The old enemy. He used to live in France, James. He was a Frenchman.
Yeah, well, I used to, and France is a lovely country, and French people are lovely people as well.
Not the Parisians so much,
the Parisians aren't. And you know, to be honest, they see things from a different point of view, but they are far more like us in many ways than we realise. Tony, good to talk. Thank you for that. A big slice of Yorkshire lost electric power last night. Shape of things to come under that moron silly band.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, what happened at Heathrow Airport? That's all gone quiet. Why did that suddenly go up?
Because there are people who absolutely... I am sure, I'm not... I don't know this, but it seems to me that it is very easy for people, you know, even people in school or universities, to hack into stuff and do things here.
But I mean,
so
if it was Russia...
Hang on, it must be easy for another country.
Well, I was thinking if it was Russia and they knew that, because it was just after Starmer announced he was going to, you know, go into Ukraine and help out, and Russia had already knocked out power stations in Ukraine. It happened. And if they found out it was Russia, they wouldn't be able to say anything because they wouldn't be able to do anything, so they would keep it quiet. But
Robert, let's talk to Robert in Hertfordshire. Robert, you're on the air. Good evening.
Good evening, James. I'm a member of Reform, and I happen to think that if Nigel and Reform were a country, then Donald Trump will be treating us a little bit more favourable. Do you agree?
I don't know, I have to be honest, because I am not sure with this tariff situation who's advising Donald Trump, because it is the silliest thing any country's ever done. It's not, it's making Americans poorer more than anything else. It's affecting the world in a bad way, and it unfortunately, much as I think Donald Trump has been a bit of a breath of fresh air because he says things and does them, somebody is not telling him when he's making a bad decision, and this tariff thing is appalling. I mean, don't get me wrong, there needs to be a change around the way we trade internationally, but not this way.
Because they were losing their jobs in the Rust Belt in America. He wants to bring the work back.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a little bit of muscle flexing on his part, a little bit of showboating, or?
Well, of course. I mean,
obviously, he means what he says.
Well, when you say, what do you think he means?
Well, I mean, one minute he says one thing, then he sort of proves his point, and then he sort of backtracks a little bit. It's hard to fathom him, really. You know.
Well,
that's
I think,
his whole
Robert,
thing. That's his shtick.
I think that's the business. It's difficult to understand, and much as he is making people get up and take notice and do things, I'm slightly concerned about those people who are giving him advice at the moment. Thank you, Robert. Wayne is in Lincoln. Is it? Oh no, what?
Oh, the Lincolnshire poacher.
How you doing, Jed?
Well, we were
All right,
okay till I realised it was you. What do you want?
Yeah, man.
I want to talk to Ash if it's all right, please.
No, call back when he's on
blown
and
it.
I'm not here.
You've blown
Nigel in Cardiff, you're on the air. Hello, Nigel.
Hello, James. Just going to say, these illegals that are coming in, I've read some of that after 5 years to get a pension.
Where do you read rubbish?
No, well, in 5 years you will be in that you get natural.
Yeah, but where do you read all this stuff?
Well, that's
Well, I
true.
read it on X, but that's what I've read.
On X.
But that's true. I mean,
Is
if you're
it?
here 5 years, you get the rights of that. So if you
Yeah,
are
but
a
you won't
pensioner,
get much of a pension, will you?
well, I
after
think they're
5
getting
years?
everyone's getting the same pension. I think Cameron did that a few years ago. Everyone
Did
gets
he?
yeah.
Well, my question is, why have I got to work 37 years to get a pension for them to come to the country for 5 years and get it?
Because you got to pay for their 4-star hotels.
I'm aware of that. Yeah, I do that anyway.
Yeah, I mean, well, I didn't know. Are you sure you're telling me something I didn't know?
Yeah, when you've been
So
here
for
5
5
years, you will naturally become and be able to claim dole and everything. And obviously, if you're a pensioner, that will entitle you to all the.
Yeah, you're allowed to. You're entitled to a pension if you've been here for more than 5 years, and you're legal or illegal immigrant.
And old enough. And a lot of them are saying they're underage as well to get into schools, and you're not allowed to question them. And so there's a massive gap between people of 18 and 24. There's no one coming in, apparently.
And what worries me is somebody somewhere is interfering with the politicians who surely, if they had any nous, would know how the majority of us in this country feel about the illegals coming in. We're being invaded, for goodness sake. We're being invaded.
I just believe they don't care for the people of this country.
I think you're right.
It's very dangerous, very dangerous.
Is that what do they call these things that people?
Oh, a voice message.
Yeah, is that worth playing? You put them on my screen.
The answer machine.
Well, if they're useless, okay.
They offered me the job of Prime Minister, but I'm just a
Right,
muppet.
take it off.
Yeah, Zippy.
I've no idea.
I
but
wish
it's
he
not
was PM.
funny. I mean, put that on in breakfast show. Go on then.
Ash, nice blazer. Where'd you get it from? Because my nan had a sofa in that fabric.
Thank you very much indeed.
From your
another
mum's
idiot.
sofa.
Warren is in Leicester. Warren, good evening to you.
Good evening, both. Loving your show.
Thank you, Warren. What can we do for you?
I'd like to talk about the grooming gangs.
Go on.
And rape gangs of little children in our country.
Yeah.
The government can have a big, massive recess on a Saturday to talk about British Steel, and yet they can't even have a reset about the grooming gang inquiry, and they spend £450 million of military aid to the Ukraine, and they don't even want an inquiry here. It is absolutely disgusting.
They're not up. They're not. I mean, I think eventually there's going to have to be an election called before the end of this Parliament. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how many people turn up, because if you don't turn up to the debate tomorrow, the first recall of Parliament at a weekend.
There's only been 5 since Second World War. One was the Falklands, one was the Queen dying, all major things. And people were going, oh, it must be for the rape gang thing, because this is, if you think about it, it's the biggest scandal in British history. This is millions of rapes of working class white girls.
But it's not.
It is. It's 250,000 girls.
No,
that would be millions of rapes.
It's not. They're recalling them tomorrow.
I know, and that was the thing. Everyone was
listen,
thinking,
shut up.
I know why.
Why?
For the steel thing, but everyone was seeing that and they thought, oh, it must be they've changed their mind on that. And then they go,
the steel thing, there's no point in being able to sort rape gangs and things out unless we are able to defend our nation. And at the moment, the way things are going, we are not. And these people who've been anywhere near accused of the rape gangs and everything, none of them should be allowed to stand for public office.
They should be arrested. But I mean, Talbot, they shut down the steelworks, and you know that's where we.
Who's in power do not want an inquiry, because you can bet your bottom dollar they're involved.
Yeah.
All day long.
Yeah. Good point. Thank you, Warren, very much. Let's talk to Graham, who's in County Durham, I think. Graham.
Hello, James. Good evening, James.
Hello, Graham. Yes, what can we do for you?
James, hello. Good evening.
What can we do for you, Graham?
Hello and good evening, Graham.
We've got a bit of a delay, I think.
Thank you, Graham. Bye-bye. Graham has a bit of a delay, but you can get help for
How's he got a delay?
I don't know why he's got a delay. He's obviously not listened to...
He's got his own dump.
When you actually come on the programme, because we broadcast both on TV and radio, there is a little delay between both of them. And if you call in to
just
talk...
listen on the phone.
Just listen on the
TV
phone.
Down radio.
Whether it's a radio you're listening to and calling us on that, or the TV,
basic
just
stuff.
listen on that. Otherwise... I think the delay is about 7 seconds or so.
More than that.
All right, loads more calls to come, and when we come back after the news at 11, sorry?
30.
30 what? Well,
no, it's 30. Not 30 now, it's about 23 now.
And I will be taking a test to see whether I am suffering from white privilege.
You're not that white tonight, are you?
Well, I've been trying to sort of top up my tan during the day. It's been a great day for tan.
Beautiful, actually,
for tan topping. So listen, if you want to call us 0344 499 1000. We haven't given out the text number.
You can watch our movie at Virtual Ash at the James Well. Watch that.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yes, it is. Very good evening to you. Welcome to me, Unleash. I'm here for another 20-25 minutes or so, and taking your calls, and then little Ash will be here on his own. Oh no, Andrew Eborn's going to come in and hold your hand. And thank you very much indeed to everybody. You've no idea how much actually getting to work, and me and the boss were just talking about it, and I'm really grateful to be able to do it. And anybody who has cancer, if they can, well, I mean, obviously some jobs you couldn't do, but I felt so much better this evening. The unfortunate thing is, I know when I come off air and I go out, by the time I get to the desk outside, I'll be going.
He's exactly the same.
Is he the same?
Yeah, I'm not. Even before I get there, I'm knackered.
But anyway, with such a brilliant radio and TV channels going like Talk, who wouldn't be? Now, this is Chuck. He's our producer, and he's come in here because apparently, let me be serious for a moment. It's just struck me. I'm in my 70s.
No.
And during my young time, in my 20s, and in my teenage years, and a bit at school, there was a lot of racism. There were lots of racism, and an organisation called the National Front used to horrible, absolutely horrible. I can't tell you how much stick I got because I was bald from quite an early age. And I am really concerned that we are going to head down that path again. And one of the reasons why is you could call them well-meaning middle-class white people, but that in itself would be racist. But they're idiots. They're people who think they know better. And to actually give anybody because of the colour of their skin or their religion. And one of the big problems is that we have a major religion who wishes to become prominent everywhere. And we all know, if I mention the name, I might get into trouble. I'm not frightened of that, by the way. I'm just saying I don't need to mention it because you can think about it. Any religion that wants to treat women as second class isn't something that should be functioning here. It's Easter! Very nearly. Celebrate it.
You can't talk about Easter.
I love chocolate.
You're not allowed to talk about Easter
It's
anymore.
a celebration of chocolate.
I must apologise.
Easter. Happy Easter to all of you.
You're not allowed to talk about Easter.
Happy
Get your Easter bunnies ready.
If you're offended by that, sod off. Because I don't give a stuff one way or the other. And that's the problem we're in. If we carry on the way we are, who is that stupid school who's had to go back, who cancelled their...
Easter celebrate, because for name diversity, they're doing Refugee Week instead or something.
Yeah.
You need sacking, whoever made that decision. You need sacking, and you need publicly ridiculing. Okay?
But this is...
That's
you're right,
not
this
being nasty. Not like a bunch of idiots who've threatened a teacher because of something they said in class, who's had to go into hiding. Those people are morons.
Yeah.
They're morons.
Well, so the government not protecting
Somebody said on, I noticed one of the things coming in, somebody said, why do you believe in Uri Geller and not God? Well, I believe in Uri Geller as much as I believe in God.
Are you saying Uri Geller is God?
No, I'm not. I'm saying...
I thought that's what you meant.
Uri is totally convinced of everything he does. Right, and I've seen him, and you've been with me.
I've seen him do
bend a spoon without touching it.
Bent anything in your house?
Yeah.
What did he bend?
He bent a spoon. He put a clock right. He did. But he came on the show once many years ago, and I brought spoon in, had a magician, and I've told you this story many times. And the spoon didn't bend. The magician said, "Well, it's not going to bend, is it? Because it's your spoon." And Uri had to play with it and put it down on the desk. And said, well, I'm not a magician, so it's not a trick. Sometimes I can do it, sometimes I can't. And while we were talking, the spoon went like that.
Wow.
And I've seen him remote view and properly do it, because I didn't even tell him we were going to... I just drew it, and then he did it.
I wonder what he sees when he does his remote viewing. Do you think he
sees a vision in his mind?
Maybe he's watching us right now.
He will be.
Maybe. Do you think he's ever seen anyone on the toilet?
You're taking the mick. Don't. No, you are taking the mick.
I want to know.
Don't. Well, then don't ask about toilet, or I'll tell you all the problems of having cancer.
He can see it.
And toilets. Okay, right.
We're back. We're back.
We'll edit that.
Was that your fault? The desk just crashed.
That's Uri Geller.
That's Uri Geller. He was remote viewing.
Stop talking about him.
Well, he does have technical problems whenever he used to come in.
Do you think the same ability for bending spoons he can do in the gallery? He took the faders down.
He can do stuff like that.
Cut the microphone off, Uri, if you're listening.
He's still got it.
Anyway, Right. This.
Well, shall we talk about the story?
Yeah, let's talk about the story first. This white privilege thing.
Yeah.
Politicians are going to be given it. Various people in England.
So it's Westminster Council. If you work for them, they're making the staff take a white privilege online quiz because apparently you might not know. You may secretly have white privilege and not know it.
But they're a minority in Westminster.
Now you're white, but you're actually not white. You're gammon.
Yeah.
That's
why am I gammon?
That's just what they call you. Because you get to a certain age, and then people say you're then a gammon, don't they?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So maybe next week we could do the gammon
like
quiz.
Gammon.
But this week I've got the actual test that
Why wouldn't they
Westminster
come on?
Council, because it's Friday night and they're probably out doing something better.
Yeah.
Let's try and get them on.
Free theatre tickets.
At some point.
All right, but shall we test you? I've got the actual questions here.
These are the real
These are the real questions for the white privilege test.
Do I have a certain amount of time to answer them?
Yeah, you can take your time. I mean, we're on till 1 a.m.
All right.
And all you have to answer is yes or no. Okay, are you ready?
I don't do yes or no, but okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So, number 1 on the white privilege quiz.
Yeah.
Did your parents read to you when you were a child?
Yes.
Oh, not good. Number 2, is English your first language?
Yes.
Oh, you're not doing well. Number 3, do you drive a new car? Or
No.
Did you drive a
new
car?
mobility scooter.
When you used to drive, was it a new car?
Yes.
Oh.
With a neon light underneath.
Number 4, you could ask this of your lady wife. Do you have a designer handbag?
Yes.
Loads of them. It's got loads of them.
You would not get hired by Westminster Council. Number 5.
Well, he wouldn't
Do
anyway.
you see people who look like you portrayed negatively on TV?
On EastEnders.
What?
Yes, that's true. Phil Mitchell is treated very badly on EastEnders.
Is he?
Yes. That's a yes. Okay, we're halfway through the quiz, and so far it's not doing well.
Whenever they show
Not doing
football
well.
hooligans, they basically show someone like James.
Yes.
But hang on, all I've done is say yes to reading stories.
I know,
I didn't
but
do
you've
it a
got-
lot.
you've got
I
too
should have
much
done it
white
more.
privilege. You've got
I should
too
have done it
much.
more.
Sorry.
And then you asked me, I can't remember some of the other questions, but you know, just
English being your first language.
Well, I'm
your wife
English.
has a designer handbag. This is not good.
I'm English,
All
and
right.
I don't speak any other
It's
languages.
no excuse.
All right, number 6.
I
Do
know
you
some
have an
Welsh
illness
words.
or a disability?
Yeah.
Not good.
That's privilege.
So
Well,
that's 6 yeses so
people,
far.
Listen,
If you're white
if you're
and you
black,
have a disability,
you've got a bigger chance of getting a prostate cancer.
well, it's not a
It's
competition.
bigger- No, I'm just saying. Well, why would me having cancer be white privilege?
Because they're suggesting that it's the combination of being white and the disability that just makes you ooze with privilege.
Yeah, it does.
You're so privileged you don't even see it, James.
I would like
You're
to get
blinkered.
hold
You've
of
got
this.
blinkers on.
I'd like to get hold of the person who wrote these questions.
It's probably been promoted.
I'd like them to sit where you're sitting
But in
now.
Westminster, white people are in a minority, actually, so they should be treated as the ethnic minority.
All right, number 7. Have you ever been stopped and searched by the police?
Yes.
Oh, have you? Okay, well, that's a first positive point
You
here.
used to drive. Do you remember? You used to have that
Yes.
really nice white Merc.
Was it a new car?
It wasn't actually. No, it was. Good. You know, it was. But I had a. It was about 4 years old. I probably had it from.
Had the
you,
big
though.
alloy
So
wheels.
I think you were a drug dealer.
I wore a baseball cap.
Yeah.
And my programme finished at 1 o'clock in the morning. I'd be driving through London about 1:30, 2 o'clock, and very often, I got stopped. Good story. Well, I think it is. The week I was first ever diagnosed with cancer, which was 25, 26 years ago. In fact, Ash and I, we've been on the air.
I wasn't even born then.
Yes, you were. And I was stopped by the police on the embankment.
Yeah.
What were you doing that late
Do you
at
think
night?
he reported
Going
you?
home from work.
I bet he reported you.
A likely
And
story.
They asked me, I'm sorry, but I just...
Were you loitering with intent?
I'm driving my car. They pulled me over.
Was it one of the rubber gloves again?
And I said, no. And I eventually... I
Was
just,
there a tall, slender lady talking to you as you wound down the window?
Short, fat one. I actually just drove off. I said, look, I don't know why you've stopped me. I don't feel very well. I'm going home. Drove off.
You left the scene of a crime.
Well, they didn't say it was a crime. Anyway, to cut a very long story short, I was diagnosed with kidney cancer and told I had to have one kidney removed the following week. Ended up in hospital for a few weeks. When I got out of hospital and came home, I had a summons to appear in court for dangerous driving.
Why?
So I went and told this story in court.
Yeah.
And the magistrate said I should never have been brought to court, and he apologised.
Finally, some
white privilege.
Yeah. What? Yes, white privilege.
White privilege.
We hadn't told that.
Do you
story,
think
no,
if you
we-
weren't white, you would have got off?
I don't know.
No.
It's got nothing to do
Thrown
with
over the
I
car.
think you would have been banged up like that poor Lucy. What's her name?
It's got nothing to do with the colour of your skin.
Yeah. Well, that's what this quiz says. Shall we finish it? Do you do most of your food shopping at Waitrose or Marks and Spencer?
Ocado.
Ocado, that's even worse.
Well, that's what used to be Waitrose, so they're
Did it?
kind of connected. Yes, that used to be.
Yeah.
But they bring it to you. That's even more privilege.
That is a lot of privilege.
Yeah, but in my condition, I couldn't really go out and wander.
Well, your white illness, that's more privilege.
You're just digging a bigger hole.
Do you get a Colin the Caterpillar cake on your birthday?
No.
No, oh, that's good.
Is that good?
That's good. All right, finally, one good one. Do you often talk about the weather?
Sorry.
Well,
Yes.
my wife and
Yes.
I often discuss
Yes.
the weather. Yeah, we
A wife, more white privilege.
Yeah.
What, having a wife?
Yes. And finally, do you have a carpeted bathroom?
No.
No, that's good. That's good. So I think
Disgusting.
you're about
carpeted.
90% on the white privilege scale.
So what would they want me if
Well, you
this
wouldn't
is
get
serious?
hired. You wouldn't get hired.
This is serious.
Westminster Council would say, get out.
Every programme should be doing this so that people know.
Well, we'd have to fire everybody who works here. I think we would all fail this test. Even the people who aren't white would fail this test.
For white privilege.
I'm disabled and white, and yes, I'm privileged to be alive, says Pete.
Pete.
Mahal,
Well, there you
yeah.
go, Pete. But you could not work for Westminster Council
No.
if you're in that situation.
No. But the serious, I am amazed at those questions.
Yeah. It's madness, isn't it?
I mean, you said something earlier, we were talking about beans on toast.
Well,
Or
no,
are you
that's
just making it up.
That's me mocking it, because that's the kind of thing they would ask you. The idea that if you eat beans on toast, then somehow you're English. I mean, there is no such thing as white privilege, because you just go outside some of these cities and look at what's going on in some of these
It's
suburbs,
white
especially up
underprivilege.
north.
You don't get a
Absolutely.
job in the police. In Wales, you get $5,000 less. It's all white underprivilege.
For teaching.
Yeah.
Well, and all the police,
Yeah.
everything, university.
I mean, I am concerned that what we will do is bring back riots, bring back open racism of people shouting.
I think it's back. I think it's back.
Well, Professor David Betts, who's one of the most qualified people on civil war, says it's virtually inevitable that there will be civil war within 5 years, and he says we've passed a pivot point.
What, in
where
this country?
Yeah, where we can actually reverse it. So that's why I think they're freeing up the prison spaces, and that's why they're using Lucy Connolly as an example, because it's cowering people, and eventually they're panicking. Because if he's saying it, then their advisors would be saying it to them.
Yeah. Well, look, and Labour isn't helping. The whole two-tier policing is a complete disaster.
Well, I think that's probably interference from outside. I don't know, but I mean,
And the courts.
But who are these advisors? I mean, first of all, look across the world, but somebody advising Trump on the way to do tariffs, complete and utter nonsense, and probably points to the fact no one person should have as much power as the American president gets with the sort of results he got.
But at least he's got rid of all the woke lot. I mean, they're all. That's what you have
Trump's
to be.
actually doing a lot of good things, though.
Yeah, I know.
The problem with Trump is what he's doing is he's throwing everything at the wall, and he knows some of it won't stick.
Yeah.
And the thing about the tariffs is that was his opening gambit.
Yeah.
He said that. That was to open the conversation. But the way they did the presentation, it just spooked all the markets. So it's with Trump, it's normally about how he does things.
Hang on.
But,
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Mark in Norwich says, this is rigged, James. A mobility scooter is not a new car. Just because you had a new car
Hold on.
in the past doesn't mean
You've got a mobility
thing.
scooter.
A brand new one.
Phil Mitchell is the second highest paid actor on EastEnders, and he is a legend. Fire Chuck.
Who said that?
Mark in
Thank
Norwich.
you, Mark. Well, listen, if you've got a mobility scooter, then that's it. You're back up to 100% again.
Yeah.
Am I?
That's a white privilege,
You can't
having
get
a
more
mobility
privilege than
scooter.
having a
Is it
mobility
new?
scooter.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's a red one as well.
What?
It's red, isn't it?
Blue.
Blue. Well,
Could
the colour of privilege.
Yeah, that is. Do
you want to see it?
I've seen it. You were doing wheelies in the car
It's a lovely
park.
bit of kit.
Shall we? I'm sure people are bored of me. Shall we go to phone calls after the break?
Good idea. Let's take the break.
across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yeah, don't bother with Wayne. Thank you very much indeed. I've told you, it's annoying. Wayne, and I'll tell you another annoying one, Ken the Bible Basher.
He'll call in.
Every time I look at these reels of horse guards and people behaving appallingly near the horses, Ken's in the background somewhere going, Jesus is coming back and all of that.
He's spreading the word, man.
Yeah. Well, he can stop it.
Someone asks you what's the price of 4 pints of milk to see if you're privileged.
I've no idea.
Guess.
£8. What?
It is white privileged. It's about £1.50.
For 4
It's
pints?
in £1.20 in, yeah.
I thought it was about £2 a pint.
No.
Or 2 litres.
£2 a pint.
I don't know.
Well, that says everything.
Why?
Well, because you're obviously white privileged.
Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear. This white privilege thing is a real worry. I'll tell you what the other thing is, and I haven't had time, I'm going to stay till past, whether you like it or not. The other thing is that in Birmingham, the union, is it the Unite Union?
Yeah.
You're a bunch of absolute whatever.
Well, you know what
I'm
happened? They had to
thinking.
take a third pay cut because they said dinner ladies are the same, should get the same as bin men. Is that right? I'm not sure it's as difficult being a dinner lady. So they had to equate the wages and pay out the women 7 years backdated wages, which
I think
bankrupted
being
us.
a dinner lady is, you're
It's not as hard as a bin man.
Yeah, you got to be with kids all the time, and that's not good.
Maybe.
The fact is, you're a Brummie, and
Yes.
you lot shouldn't vote these
They
extremists
shouldn't vote in
in.
Birmingham. Last week they had rats the size of pigs. I've heard this week there was some spotted as big as donkeys running around because of the sunshine.
So the fact is, those people who are standing outside the bin places, stopping them, you disgust me.
Yeah.
You've been offered a reasonable amount of money for doing a job like that.
A
If it's not
30%
enough,
pay cut isn't that bad.
well, they're not being offered that.
think
The
that's
other
what
side
happened.
is saying they're not. They're reorganising it.
Yeah.
But you could go and do a bin job and be finished by 9 o'clock in the morning and then do another job.
But people are flying tipping on top of it.
Which
I
is
do
what
a
you
bit
do.
of that. Yeah, if they call me.
Let's get on with the calls. Paul's in South Wales. Yaki da.
Yaki da.
Hi guys. Nice to see you back, James.
Thank you, Paul. Where in South Wales are you?
I'm from Nice, mate.
All right, no, yeah.
Nice.
Nice. He's only taking the mick, Paul. What can we do for you?
Just like to say, guys, that the appalling situation with the immigrants coming over has got to be sorted. I wish that our Prime Minister had a better gonads to sort it out. That's number one. Number two, I'd like to say that, Ash, the caller that called in earlier on wasn't calling the Prime Minister Zippy. He was calling. I think he was relating to you, mate.
I'd have left him on longer. Paul, thank you very much indeed. David in, where's that?
Peterborough.
Yeah, David.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, hi. I want to talk about the immigrants. When my dad came over from Italy many, many years ago, he's passed away now, he came over and they put him in a place called Simpson. It was an airfield, and they had to stay there. But my point is that they gave them a card to all the Italians and all the immigrants. And if this card was stamped 3 times by the police, they were sent home. So why can't we do something like that now?
I don't know why we can't do anything. I mean, it can't be difficult. We're being invaded. And so if these guys were coming over, and they are mostly guys, if these guys, military age, left their country, left their families to look after themselves, not the nicest people in the world, obviously, coming over here for freebies, would we do this if they had guns in their hands? They're coming over here with no documentation. We don't know who they are, what they do.
Yeah.
We don't even know their age. Some of them are in their 30s, pretending to be sort of 14 or 15.
And they claim asylum, and a lot of them are then going back on holiday to where they come. And if they do that, when they come back, they should be refused entry and their asylum claim rejected.
Yeah. I heard the story. This woman on the radio, bless her, she took these 3 guys in, and the council said they were young lads. She accepted them, and when they turned up, she said they were in their 30s. And they were really rude to her.
We had a murderer who got into a boys' school. I mean, this is happening. And they say, oh, no, we better not really question them on their age, even if they're not obviously not under 18.
And what about the one with the chicken nuggets?
Well, they wouldn't kick him out because of the ECHR because he couldn't get the same sort of chicken nuggets.
Yeah. I mean, the people who make these decisions need to be given a real reprimand. They need to be actually made to face the stupidity of their decisions, and we're not.
We've got to
doing
get rid of this quangos, like when they tried to make the two-tier system, and they told the government basically to go away. They're going to do it anyway, although they've gone back.
Yeah,
on it. We've got to get rid of all these quangos.
Well,
we have to have sovereignty.
Just sack them all.
They need to come in.
Why can't they just turn the boats round?
Because they haven't got the nerve. They'll say, oh, people might drown. Well, people don't have to come. I don't want to see anybody dying. But people don't have to get in the boats. And if the boats are dangerous, more dangerous, because everybody goes on about how dangerous they are, but nobody tells you, I don't suppose anybody told you about 600 came in illegally yesterday or whatever. They tell you when there's been a little accident.
Which is their fault, which is those people's fault. They have blood on their hands because people will try and get here.
We could have Navy patrols which would do the training of our
The French
Navy.
wouldn't stand for it if it was the other way around. They'd just drop them back here and we wouldn't do anything.
The French government are disgusting.
And the problem is, if we went abroad, we'd have to abide by their rules, or
we know. Yeah. But you know, the fact is, there's no, for some reason, and I don't know what it is, and nobody's saying, our politicians of all sides, not just Labour, though they're pretty good at being useless. The last Tory government, they were useless. There's no point to the Liberal
They're all
Democrats.
continuing Blairism for some reason. They've just, even Cameron, the Tories, they just continue with the Blairism, and that needs to be broken, that spell, and everything repealed from 1997, you know, with
Because,
the
you know,
Supreme
we've got-
Court and the quangocracy.
We've got enough drones and probably enough Navy
AI
boats.
could do it without a manned people.
to
even.
keep these people from coming in. And if they keep coming in, never mind giving France some money, tell them they can't fish over here. To take away their fishing licenses. And then stop, then actually reenact some of the laws that we should have had taken away when we left the European
Get rid of the
Union.
ECHR.
I think a lot of politicians want to see, because I think they would be wealthier themselves, a rejoining of the European dictatorship. That's what I think.
What really upsets me is that I listen to your station, I listen to talk, and we listen to a lot of people, a lot of British people that are really upset about it, and the government still will not do anything.
It's not just this government. It's the politicians. They didn't do anything in the last government.
No, that's
They're
right.
not
But
doing
I mean,
anything in this government. You're absolutely... David?
And when we had someone decent, they got rid of them, like Liz Truss and Boris, although Boris was a bit of a letdown. But Liz Truss, they just ganged up on her and got rid of her.
David, thank you very much indeed. And this voicemail from Steve Allen.
Oh, he must be...
Hi, James. Hi, Ash. I really do, James, I really do prefer you to be presenting with Ash, because you give him that time, that space to show off his dry wit, which I appreciate. Unlike other presenters that don't give him such privilege, white or not.
Thank you. Kevin, you make a very good point. I give him so much time. I'm probably the nicest person on this station to you.
Yeah, I agree.
But I mean, he only has to work with other people because I'm not well. You know, I'm back. He's
back
going to be
now.
here all the time when I'm
man.
back. Yeah. Kevin in Birmingham. No. Basingstoke. Kevin.
Hello. White privilege does exist, just like any other privilege. If you're wealthy, if you're intelligent.
So black privilege exists.
Or where you're born.
Black privilege?
No. Pardon?
Black privilege?
Well, yeah. I mean, some privilege. There may be some privilege.
So what we need is the word privilege, and not black, white, Asian, or anything else.
Just want meritocracy.
There's privilege in lots of who you are, including black, including white. So you can't say there isn't such thing as white privilege when there is. because there's been a study where they sent out CVs, the exact same CVs, with an English-sounding name like John Smith and a foreign-sounding name from, maybe from Africa or something like that. And the white CV got far more callbacks, interviews than the person with the foreign-sounding name. So it does exist.
No, white working class boys are the most underprivileged in society.
Yeah.
That's just proven. That's just a fact.
But if people have a bias like that, you're probably going to find there are people who have a bias in a different way as well. But that's human nature, isn't it? And you really got to get.
White privilege does exist, and you saying it. No, you have both said no. It does.
If you offer a job and you say whites only can apply for this training, you'll be called racist. But if you do it the other way around, it's all, this is great. So what are you talking about?
When that happened then?
Well, we just read the stories out earlier. It's happening in Westminster. It's happening in Yorkshire. It's happening in the school that's banning Easter.
It wasn't a job, was it? It was a test.
No, it was a job with the police in West Yorkshire Police, actually. Same with the BBC on the training scheme. Same.
But listen,
open your eyes, man.
Hang on, just a minute. So are you telling me that you are far more likely to get a job because of the colour of your skin than your ability to do the job?
No, you're far more likely to get a response to your CV.
Well, let me tell you a little story without mentioning any names. If I do, guys, bleep them out, please. But a friend of mine works for a big company, and part of her job is to take on new people. And she wrote a list, sent it in. I'm cutting this story down. The list was sent back to her, and she was told there are too many English-sounding names. We need some names that sound or look as if they come from other areas. And she was made to redo it and go back and think again. And I think that happens a lot more often than you realise, Kevin.
Well, the thing is, we've had it for so long where black people have been discriminated.
Kevin, you talk rubbish. You're one of these.
So be racist against white people.
Just a minute. Are you a lefty liberal sort of wally?
I'm lefty, yeah. But I don't know
well, bugger off. Go away. I don't want to hear people like you on my programme.
It's not for you, this show.
It's not for you, this show,
It's not
mate.
agreeing with you. You can tell.
You know, and you are the sort of person that is going to cause race hatred in this country. You are the sort of person that is going to make this worse. Do you realise that?
Well, no, I'm not.
No, you are.
Your channel is racist.
No. There are too many channels who are doing exactly the opposite, who are talking the kind of nonsense that you are talking.
We're the only one telling the truth, which is why you really listen, isn't it, Kevin?
Because you know that these people like you.
My point of view across, because most people that phone in just go along with the rubbish that you're saying.
Yeah, but your point of view is not correct. You're
I allow
incorrect.
people to disagree with me more than people who agree with me, and if you had any intelligence, you'd realise that. But the idea that there is, you know, that this country is privilege against people who come from different areas of the globe is ridiculous. If anything, this country has turned itself, because of the libby-labby lefties, into a situation where we are going to find ourselves with very serious racial problems. Now, I am worried about it. I've got, you know, a lot of friends I don't want to fall out, well, won't fall out with. We are a multiracial nation. We are not a multicultural nation.
You've already said it's okay to be racist to white people to make up for past things that have happened, haven't you, Kevin?
Yeah, but he's not very intelligent.
You're worried about what's happening in this country, but you're always stirring up trouble all the time. You're always demonising people. You're always
go away. You talk rubbish, and quite frankly, I don't have the patience the way I am at the moment to listen to nonsense by
people
like you. Well, Basingstoke is a very sort of
yeah, exactly. You can tell with the name.
I really, it annoys me, people like you. I talk what I think is the truth, and I want to see people of all colours get on together like we were until this happened. And, you know, it's the way nearly. Thank you. It's the way we started doing things like saying we have to pay reparations for slavery and all of this.
It's why we're not investigating the grooming gangs and throwing working class girls under the bus. That's why the people like you with your thoughts.
Yep. Cindy is in Michigan, and I think I'm going to have to leave after that.
I'm so happy. You know, it's been heck to try to get through to you. I'm so happy you made my day. I wanted to talk to you. And I'm trying to get on video, too. I got lots of new work pieces to show you.
Have you?
Yeah.
We haven't got time to see them at the moment. We'll do them next week, maybe, or something like that.
I hope so. Yeah, so I wanted to tell you they passed a law in the state of Idaho that if you do the worst thing to a child, like, you know, murder, the pedophile will be executed by firing squad. This is, yes, the source is news.
But the problem, Cindy, is you've still got pedophiles.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So it doesn't work.
I personally think they should be castrated chemically.
But they never reoffend again, the ones that get executed, do they?
They don't.
And obviously you're talking about a murderer as well, a child murderer, of course. So.
Listen, Cindy, you've got to go, but let's try and get you on earlier next time. I promise we will. And see if we can get some shots of where you are in Michigan. Our American Michigan correspondent, Cindy, thank you for that. Carolina in Bath said, please get rid of Kevin. He used to ring in on Kevin's show. He was vile. And great show, guys. Carolina, thank you very much.
Oh, he doesn't
indeed.
mean Kevin, our presenter. He means Kevin in Basingstoke.
Yeah, but he was rude to Kevin.
Well, how dare he? That makes it even worse.
He said he was rude. Yeah, if you read it, Kevin was rude to Kevin.
Well, that's terrible, isn't it?
And Kevin's, obviously, he's one of those... Well, probably he's given the job of ringing me and having a go at me.
Not Kevin the presenter, no.
No, Kevin the...
It's all very confusing,
I nearly used the wrong word. I nearly said a word that sounds like prat.
No, you better not say that, yeah.
No. God. I'd hate to be in the office opening the complaints at Ofcom next week. I really would.
You going to stay another few minutes?
No, I am going to make a move because by the time I get out of the studio and get home, it's going to be in the early hours of the morning and I'm going to be going, but I have really enjoyed it and hopefully I will be back next Friday and before long, maybe other nights and maybe for longer.
That would be very good, man. Well, you've done well tonight, haven't you? This is a record, actually.
We're doing well. We're doing well. Thank you very much indeed. Enjoy the weekend. The weather apparently is not going to be too bad. Not going to be as hot as it was today, but it's not
white privilege again discussing the weather.
See you later.
the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yeah, it's Talk. James Wales has just left, but he'll be back next week. Did very well tonight, and he's going to be doing a bit longer each week, hopefully. But now I'm joined by barrister and magician. And you can see some of his magicianry on. He did it on Kev's show, didn't
Well,
he?
we love Kev's show, and it was the 100th episode.
Yes.
So glorious.
You burnt your fingers, didn't you, with the magic?
Oh my goodness! The things I do for this show,
magic.
you know, it's got to be good.
But we had Uri Geller on earlier, who isn't a magician. He does actually have those powers. He's a mystifier. I have seen him do amazing, and maybe I'll test the remote viewing with you later.
I would love that. I mean, he's wonderful, Uri, and always good. I listened to his warning about the royal family.
Yes. And Iran, could in 3 weeks could be nuking America.
Yeah, well,
don't panic. Don't panic.
Don't panic. Don't panic. I think
Right,
it's
anyway. Let's go. Calls 0344 499 1000. We'll ring you back. We'll get you on. But let's start with Kieran in Lancashire.
Hello, Kieran.
Hiya.
All right,
How you
man.
doing?
All right. What do you want to say?
I was just wondering if you're a real journalist. Are you a journalist?
Yes.
So, do you not want to talk about the massive NDA that's protecting Keir Starmer about his secret family and his homosexual?
I don't know. I don't even know if there is one, but we can't speculate on all that. I mean, it's just all gossip, isn't it? I mean, they said it was a funny shape, didn't they? And we don't know what's going on, but apparently it's none of our business anymore. Heather in Girvan.
Hello, Heather.
But I am a journalist.
Hello.
Hello.
Are you on hand-free, Heather? Can you use your hand, please, Heather? Heather, use your hand.
You sound like you're a tannoy announcement on a train station.
When I look at politicians of today, these generations of politicians, they know what they're cracked up.
Are you on a Fisher Price phone?
There's no real convictions or anything.
We're going to have to sort you out. Les in Cheshire.
Hello, Les. We're zipping through these, aren't we?
Yeah, man.
Go on, then.
Yeah.
Hi, Les.
Hi, Ash. How are you doing?
We're all right. Andrew's here as well.
Good to see you.
Yeah, James Ware, what a legend.
Oh, isn't he brilliant?
But he does have white privilege, as we proved earlier. So.
That bloke from Basingstoke, Jesus Christ, he doesn't like to talk to you enough, does he?
These are the people that have caused these problems.
Now, I wanted to talk about Adolescents, that programme, Adolescents.
Yes.
The fiction, the drama.
Also West Yorkshire Police not recruiting white people.
Yes.
Yeah, because they watched Adolescents, probably.
Oh, that's probably right,
Yeah,
actually.
the documentary, as they call it.
Yeah.
Have you seen the series? Did you see it?
Yeah, I've seen it, yeah, I've seen it, yeah. The thing is, yeah, it was a great programme. However, what sort of indications is putting through to white kids?
Well, it's fake as well. I mean, I quite admire Kemi Badenoch because she was on the BBC being interviewed, and they said, "Have you watched it?" And she went, "No." And they went, "Oh, you haven't watched the drama?" And Nana Munchetti goes, "The documentary? No, it's a drama." I mean, it's like Keir Starmer saying, "I saw a documentary called Bambi the other day, and female deers must be protected, and we must show it through schools." I mean, these stories, I don't think they've happened to a white working class kid in this country. I think there's been 59 incel deaths across the world. The big story in this country is kids stabbing each other to death. You know, that's what they should be discussing that in Parliament, not wasting it on fiction.
What did you think?
The thing is, Ash, is that if young white kids are growing up now and they want to join the police force,
yes,
they've now been barred from it.
Well, they've been put in a bronze category. It was found out at West Yorkshire Police. If you were from one part of Asia, you got a gold medal, you know, to put through. If you get from the other side of Asia, you get silver. And white people, they get the bronze. Wooden spoon.
Well, there's two things. I think you make a really good point.
Isn't it illegal as well under the law?
Absolutely. We talk about the Equality Act, and basically what happens is that if you are white, you're not allowed to apply at certain times of the year. And the principle says that it has to be a meritocracy democracy, and the only way you can have a positive discrimination is when it gets to the final decision if you need to redress the balance. And I think they said about 9%.
They shouldn't have that either, but how are they getting away with it? The police breaking the law.
It's illegal, and I was on Kev's show yesterday discussing exactly that, because I think Isabel Oakenshaw...
So are they going to stop it?
Well, they should do. I did advise them to stop it because I think it's illegal and we should work on that sort of basis.
Well, they could be sued. There was a couple of policemen who did win their case a couple of months ago because they didn't get to the positions they were, and they were able to prove it's because they were white, and they won a big amount of money.
They did, and it can go for thousands, and also the reputational damage. Trust comes in on foot and leaves on horseback. I thank you. But the reality is exactly that. On adolescence, though, you're right about a couple of things, because the narrative is not about white kids and so on and so forth. I thought the good thing about adolescence were three things. Firstly, it highlighted the facts about bullying. It was actually more useful for adults who wouldn't understand the language about red pills and blue pills and incel and what that sort of means. And also, if it highlights about bullying on that sort of stuff, that's got to be good. The kids know about the language. They know about that sort of bullying, so it's not really going to help them. And also... Yeah, go for it.
During that program, and drama, Adolescence, a young black girl punched out a white guy, a white lad, and there was nothing said about that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's perfectly all right.
And you're right, because the narrative in the press is all about Rudy Cabana, it's all about non-white crimes and so on and so forth, about knife crimes and everything else. So I think people have to remember adolescence is a drama. If it basically it victimises, doesn't it? Victimises white kids. That's the argument.
I think it was a psyops operation. I think they set this up so they could go, oh, let's now discuss this in Parliament as though it's a fact. I heard people, because I haven't watched it myself, I'm like Kemi Badenoch, and it looks a bit boring to me. And they're going about how it was filmed in like one thing, like it was great. A lot of people saying that was rubbish. It was just filming the back of someone's head. But I mean, all the white people apparently were a bit stupid in it. Like there was the white teacher who was a bit stupid, and then there was the white policeman. But yeah, the other people, they were all, you know what I mean? It was very psychological operation.
I think to be fair, you have to watch it. I think the drama thing is rather like 1917. Remember that movie, that one shot they did? Actually, from an artistic point of view, I thought it's very well shot and it was a great story. But it's not about the narrative at the moment. I think the people are going to learn the most. Yes, go for it, Lee.
Okay, so if white people can't apply to be a police officer,
that's wrong.
in West Yorkshire.
Well, it's illegal, as you've said.
It is illegal.
Yeah, and they come under the bronze type of the criteria.
Yes.
Does that mean we have to have a tan? So it can move
I see what you mean. Very good. We see what you did there. No, the reality is this: it is illegal. You're loving your own joke as well, which is brilliant. Well done. What I love about it highlights the thing about equality. This is the Equality Act, and what that says is you can't prejudice against anybody.
Well, why are they doing it? Why are these? And they're getting away with it for years.
Well,
why are these institutions?
I'll tell you why they are doing it. Their argument is they say at the moment about 24% of their demographic of that particular area are non-white, but only 9% of the police force is non-white.
So that allows them to break the law.
No,
it doesn't. They're police. They should know
it doesn't. You can have this thing called positive discrimination, and there are case law.
Reverse racism.
It's what it effectively is. But under the law, what it says is that you can't do it until you get to the final stage, and you have to have a really good argument. What they've done wrong here is the West Yorkshire Police have said non-whites can't apply. Now that means it's already illegal. There's case law in this. There's a case called Furlough, which is against another police force, which found that it was illegal, and the police force had to pay thousands of pounds in compensation as well as reputational
But they
damage.
don't do it with nursing, where there's mainly women. They don't, so that's got to be 50%. With doctors, whites are underprivileged in hospitals. Not underrepresented, sorry, maybe underprivileged, but they're underrepresented. So why isn't there a fuss? What about bricklayers and bin men? Why aren't they 50-50 women? It only applies when they want it to apply.
And also the question which they're not asking, which is the really inflammatory question, is actually, but rather than basing it on the demographic, are we going to base it on the crimes? And if you start looking at the statistics, who's more likely to commit crimes? And just let's reveal those statistics.
Well, they won't, because they're worried. I mean, but when we look at in Europe, where they are releasing the statistics, we can see that illegal migrants are manifestly much more involved in crimes of a sexual nature, of thievery and stuff like that. So obviously that would be replicated here, and that's why they're covering it up like they cover all the things up.
And just to give you another bingo card, I mean, sunlight is the best disinfectant, thank you. But that's what happens. They should let us have those statistics and let us understand understand it. But you're absolutely right, and the call is absolutely brilliant to point that out. It is absolutely prejudice against whites, and that is wrong. That's racist.
We've done the trust on horseback thing, haven't we?
We
did that one. You missed it on the card.
Bingo.
Right, well, in that case...
bingo card? We had one made up. Chuck's normally brilliant at this
Anyway,
stuff.
we get 03444991000, but we better take a break on that.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yeah, it's the James Whale Show starring Ash and Andrew Eborn, and we're back now. 03444991000. We've just taken your calls. Let's talk to Elf in South Wales.
Elf, hello, Elf.
Hello, gentlemen, and thank you for taking the call this evening.
It's all right, man.
I wonder if you could educate me about something with these migrants coming into Britain.
Yep.
Obviously, we're aware that we're having an influx which is out of control now. Yep. Are they being fingerprinted and photographed when they arrive here?
Well, I think this is the interesting thing, isn't it? Because a lot of people are saying that they want to introduce this digital ID. Is that what you're in favour of?
No, I'm in favour of anything like that.
They should be, so they can't come back again. They should take the DNA and fingerprints and retina scans. So
do you think? I mean, firstly, Elf is a great name. What's Elf short for?
It's actually Elif, but I prefer.
Oh, is it Elif?
I prefer Elf.
You had an unfortunate vowel movement.
Yeah, I did earlier.
In relation to what I'm trying to touch on is.
Yes.
If these people are coming in and they're now being photographed or fingerprinted,
yes.
Are we able to monitor and control their movement?
Well, we're not. You know, when they get in these hotels, they're free to leave. In fact, I had a friend who had a 34-room hostel in London, and the government took it over. And he said every Albanian that comes immediately checks out on the first day because they're already sorted. So you can go where you want. A lot of them get sort of illegal jobs cash in hand for some of these delivery things. And
well, this is the problem, and they're all they're cracking down, aren't they? What's that, sorry?
These barber shops as well, that's all.
Yeah. Well, apparently they've just realised, but the government, of course, the HMRC were getting raking in money, so they're happy. We are the money laundering capital of the world, this country.
Yeah.
So they make a lot of money.
No one said about the hotels.
We're great at laundering.
And that, Ash, with the hotels, the government ain't going to go chucking them out to the hotels because with austerity as it is now, people can't afford to stay in hotels.
Well, a lot of the people who get these contracts were formerly with the government. You know, a lot of these companies that get given the contracts that then pay the hoteliers, who some of them are now billionaires.
And we try and highlight every time this is raised. We had a brilliant guy on who owns Tintagel Castle.
Mr. Mappin.
Mr. Mappin, part of the Mappin and Webb dynasty. And he was saying he turned down what were effectively millions because he felt that it was wrong. And lots of hotels, he understood why they would do it because they've gone through hard times. But apparently they haven't been getting the money.
Yes, I heard.
And so we saw that last time. What would you do?
Well, if I wasn't getting the money, obviously, you know, is good night, Irene, innit?
What we need to do with them is lock them up like we used to do in a detention centre, and then say, right, away you go, find out somewhere to go, or you just stay here, and that's it. Unless you are genuinely fleeing for your life. But that doesn't mean your country's at war, you get the right to leave. That's a ridiculous situation.
Take away the incentive altogether.
Yeah.
So don't make it so comfortable to come over here. We talk about Trump and the lessons that might be learnt there. He's got 100%, if you're here illegally, you're out. Do you think we should have something similar here?
I agree with you. A lot of things got to be addressed. Keir Starmer as well. He was on about a drug. He touched on the news the other day when he was at that Land Rover about different things, and he mentioned about drugs as well.
Yes.
And in my opinion, where I've grown up over the years, drugs seem to come with the immigrants as well.
Well, I think it was Aberystwyth, where they had I think 2 brothers came, and they started from some country, and they started selling heroin, and now the whole youth of that town, well, not the whole of it, but a lot of them are just addicted. If you're in Aberystwyth, give us a ring and tell us about that. But apparently, you know, it only takes a few people to make a whole small town addicted to drugs.
The thing is, Ash, you know, it's an easy cop-out, then. You know, they're going to go on the drugs because there's no employment, is a way of escaping his...
Well, they then launder the money through the barber shops or the chocolate shops or the takeaways, and they've no chance of getting arrested these days, very little. I mean, there's hardly any arrests made. And then if they do get arrested, I heard a kid who got caught twice with a machete. He didn't even get imprisoned the second time.
That's crazy,
so
isn't
there's
it?
kids openly walking around with machetes these days.
And at the same time, people who send naughty tweets are sent to jail immediately. I mean, it's all wrong, isn't it?
Do you think they're trying to cow us? Because, you know, like Professor David Betts said, it's pretty much inevitable there'll be civil war within 5 years, and they're clearing out the prisons, aren't they, for places for us, normal
scandalous.
people, and putting that Connolly lady in for ridiculous to cow us into submission, and 30 people a day are getting arrested for hurty tweets, worse than Russia.
It's awful, and Elon Musk said that it's a civil war. That's what he was
inevitable, and they were,
inevitable.
oh, it's ridiculous. Well, they're not saying it's ridiculous now. In fact, the academics, the experts are saying it would be ridiculous not to think it, and he also said, Professor David Betts, that we've passed the pivot point, i.e. we can't reverse it now. We could a few years ago, but now it's too late. Thanks, Elf.
Thank you, Elf.
Wayne, Elif, sorry. Wayne, the Lincolnshire poacher, finally you can talk to me.
Plug us back in. Oh, hello. There we go. This keeps coming up.
Hello, Andrew. Hey, Ash, how's it going?
Yeah,
we're still here.
You can talk now.
You can
no,
talk.
because he called in earlier. And there's a golden rule. If you say, I want to speak to Ash, you'll get cut off immediately. James,
I know.
Schoolboy error.
He won't get Uri to...
He just doesn't like you, does he? He doesn't like you. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, you know.
Where are you calling from? Whereabouts are you?
Where in Lincolnshire? You're Boston?
I'm Boston. I'm the Lincolnshire to Andrew.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
So what is it you wanted to say, Wayne?
Well, let's talk about the immigrants right now. I'm a provider. I've got children. Right.
Yeah.
Now, you do anything to provide for your family.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're all ever to dig at them, but I would, if I think was somewhere better in another country,
yes,
I'd be off this away.
Yeah, well, exactly. You'd be mad. There's people coming here who had no intention of coming here, but they're seeing what's on offer. If you're a young lad in a third world country, why wouldn't you come here? But it's our government's fault then, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, there's a really, really great movie which does show the other side of it called Io Capitano, which shows the whole migrants' journey and the horror they go through, because it's the gangs that are making all the money.
Yes.
They extort the families. And you're right to point out that if you had your kids in a similar situation, you would do whatever you could to do the best for them.
How old are your kids? I mean, what are you telling them to do in their future?
Well, my kids, luckily, I'm okay, because 2 of them, and my son's a psychiatric nurse. Daughter's a nurse.
There's plenty of work for him.
But what I'd also like to point out is, now,
Andrew, you might be able to answer this question. Is it Keir Starmer or they keep hinting that we haven't got a quota yet? Now, is there a such thing as a quota for each country?
Well,
immigrants.
It is interesting because we try to agree to take on a certain number, but do the sort of legal side. But I think that the reality is it's a mess. It's an absolute mess. So forget the quotas. What you need to look at is the whole policy. And if it's illegal, and we understand those sort of situations, they always remember the campaign during the election. It was always stop the boats, and they didn't work on that sort of basis.
But I mean, when we voted Brexit, we wanted our sovereignty, so we should have got rid of the ECHR because that's totally against our sovereignty, being decided by just judges in cafes. They're not real judges. Anyway, 03444991000. Joe's our show. Me and Andrew on. Join us back in 2 minutes.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yeah, he is unleashed, but he's left the building, so he's left it with me and Andrew Eborn's here. We're just taking your calls. We'll be going through the papers as well, 03444991000, whatever you want to talk about. So let's start with Steve down the Black Country, Warsaw.
Hello, Steve.
How am you, Bab?
Good evening,
Country of
gentlemen.
colour, sorry. Country of colour.
We're all aware of the post office scandal.
Yes.
It's been quite a while before I've heard anything about it.
Yeah, they're trying to sweep that under the carpet, aren't they?
When it did happen,
yes,
there was talk about the top people who were responsible for all this in the post office would end up in court and perhaps prison sentences.
Yeah, but they made it all go quiet. They took a CBE off her, didn't they? But no one's going to do porridge at the moment.
But the thing is, they soon moved on these postal workers, these post people. They jumped on them like lightning. They was jailing them, ruining their lives.
Some committed suicide in prison. We had a woman on who was pregnant. It was disgusting what they did, and they knew it was the system.
You made such a good point. The trouble with the media is they sort of focus on one story, then move on, and we don't see what happens. And it actually took the media, it took an ITV series to bring this to light, because people have been speaking about it for a long time, but it wasn't until, what was it, Mr. Bates versus the Post Office, that effectively this came to light. But you make a brilliant point. What we need to do is to work out what happens now. The people who are responsible need to be brought to account.
I do. I mean, I hope it's not going to another rotten to the core government thing where everything's swept under the carpet and forgot.
Yeah, but I mean, look what's going on with this rape gang inquiry. That's exactly what they'll do, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Because it's been quiet for quite a while. But these people, they know who they are. I wouldn't mind if it was a genuine mistake, but it wasn't. They knew there were flaws in the system and just carried on with it. And the one, I forgot her name now, she was a woman of the cloth.
Yes.
A religious person.
Yeah, she was the boss. Yeah, she was the boss of the post. She lost the CB and that was it.
Oh, but that's not like going to court and being jailed.
No, exactly. They all get away with it, don't they?
You're absolutely. And what's brilliant? What's brilliant is that you're still calling it out, and we should do that in the media, which is so important that you've called in about it.
It's like they just ignore us, don't they? And they don't actually care.
Well, they won't. I think we keep raising it and keep asking those questions, keep holding people's feet to the fire. We should get the justice they richly deserve.
But they don't. I mean, look at Keir Starmer in the Oval Office. I'm very proud of our history of free speech. He's obviously lying. J.D. Vance had to go at him round the back rather than do a Zelensky on him. I mean, he just doesn't care. They don't care. They'll just carry on what they're doing. Look at Jess Phillips. Oh, no, we won't have an investigation into these rape gangs. We're going to just give them £1 million each of these 5 and brush it under the carpet.
Scandalous.
Disgusting.
No, we should. What are your views on the rape gang inquiry? Would you support such a thing?
Me?
Yes.
Well, I know a man. He was a social worker. He was a senior social worker, and he got a group of people banged to rights through this gang raping business.
Yeah, and torture.
He got them banged to rights. He got all the evidence and everything, and he submitted it to the police. And you know what the police did?
Nothing.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, there was a lady on with Kev yesterday. We'll try and remember her name, but I heard it was harrowing what she said, and she's still going back and saying, complaining about it to her MP, Jess Phillips, and then they come back and go, yeah, we're going to do something, and then they sort of just don't do it, and they email, why aren't you getting back? And they're not getting back to them at all. This wasn't even someone from her home. This was a girl who lived in a happy family. She liked horses, and she just got snatched off the street, chucked in the seat well of the car. And for the next 5 years she was abused, and people were saying, well, why didn't you tell your parents? Because she was in such a bad state. She would get home as a teenager and go, I'm not talking to you, and they'd leave her alone. And this went on for 5 years, and it's disgusting, and it's still, she's trying to get things sorted. Luckily she sorted her life out.
Absolutely scandalous. And I don't know, I mean, you've got people like Rupert Lowe who are raising crowdfunding effectively, got over $500,000 to get this inquiry going. Why? What is the argument people would say for not looking at it?
I mean, all these things, these people, and bang to rights.
Yes.
Why don't they just jump on them and arrest them and deal with them in court?
Well, that's exactly. There shouldn't be an inquiry. There should be a police investigation unit set up and mass arrests done.
Inquiries and all this.
Forget the inquiries. Let's just have a police investigation, a whole separate unit just for the countrywide, and make mass arrests of these politicians, the police, and these perpetrators.
The reason you need an inquiry because it goes more than just the perpetrators of the crime, because there's a cover-up as well, and that's what we need to stop. In the same way,
wouldn't a police investigation do all that?
Well, you can have a look. They can run in parallel, and this is the point. It's not sort of mutually exclusive. You need to look at all of it. Work out. People use that trite phrase, so it never happens again. Lessons will be learned. Well, let's make sure those lessons are learned.
They keep saying, "Oh, we've got to make sure this doesn't happen in the future." Well, it's happening right now. That's the thing. There's girls now it's happening to.
And I've heard nobody. I mean, if you have a different view, you should call in. But I've heard nobody put forward a persuasive argument to say there shouldn't be an inquiry.
Well, there was an MP who she actually tweeted a girl who was complaining about it and said, you should shut up for the sake of diversity, and that's what they use. They're worried about their vote.
Scandalous.
Labour Party will lose anyway they're already losing to certain Islamic parties. There is sectarian voting. For Gaza, we saw our mate Khalid Mahmood was voted out in Perry Bar. Jess Phillips only won by 600 votes, which is why she's pandering to them. So, this is what's happening. They're going to lose anyway to this.
But you say pandering to them. The point, and I've made this before, is that the Muslim community, the top people, should come out and condemn the gang rapists, because that's the reality. Not all of them on work.
The law-abiding majority of Muslims.
Absolutely, the brilliant law-abiding majority of Muslims who should come out and condemn it, because then the politicians wouldn't be so scared of losing that vote, and that way we make sure that justice is done.
Give us a ring and let us know if you're from that community.
Anybody's got a different persuasive argument argument they should come on and tell us.
Thanks, Steve. Let's go to Jerry in Burton-on-Trent.
Oh, I love Burton-on-Trent.
Just down the road, isn't it, from
glorious.
Walsall? Yeah.
Oh,
hello.
Hi there, Andrew and Ash. Lovely to speak to you guys.
And you.
By the way, I like Octopus TV. Although
thank you. You should phone again. It's good.
But sometimes the video cuts a bit short and I'm left hanging.
Yes, that's the cliffhanger.
So is it just like programmes about octopi? I like octopi. What do you want to talk about, Jerry?
Well, I'd like to talk about the rape gangs.
Yes.
I think I've listened to so many people talk about them, but look at Starmer's reason for not having an inquiry. I know they talk about the fear of, it's going to be it's bad politically because they like the Muslim votes and all that type of thing. But also, I think there's an even bigger problem because were they to go for an inquiry, would we not see riots that we'd never seen before by the Muslims? Would we not see, and not just that, what about the compensation it would cost?
Well, yeah, I know some lady was paid out, I think, £500,000, and if you're talking about 250,000 girls and women, that is an enormous, but who cares? We obviously have to care about that. We couldn't bankrupt ourselves, but forget all that. There's girls being raped
they deserve justice. They absolutely deserve justice. And the point is this, I don't believe that, as we said, the majority of the Muslim community are not involved in this. So what they should do is actually, if they have a conversation, we should ask the top people within the Muslim community to turn out and condemn it, because they could be part of the solution.
And sadly, guys, this goes back a very long time. I used to be previously a foster carer.
Okay. Good job, tough job.
So tell us, because I heard it's been going on since the 70s.
Oh, well, I can certainly vouch for the early 2000s when I was a foster carer. In much that the residential homes that housed many of the kids, the girls and the lads, for that matter, were given an awful lot of freedom because the workers, they're not well paid and they're not that skilled, really. Yeah. They would say, if they've, got behavioural issues or they decide to go off, we can't physically stop them. And it would always come down to the police having to find them and return them. And that went on.
Well, they didn't. I mean, there was a social worker who went to a wedding of a girl who was like 14 or 15. I mean, disgraceful. There was a father who knew his daughter had just been taken and was being sexually assaulted in a house and raped. He went round there to break the door down and go and get his daughter out. The police came, arrested him, took him away, and the girl was continually raped that very night. And the police had that was brought up in Parliament by that amazing MP who spoke out.
And do you know the other thing that they do, the social workers, because they're trying to offload the alleged underaged or the children that are asylum seekers, they will say to foster carers, oh, we need you to take another placement and whatever. In fact, I was asked to do just that.
Right.
And I've got no room. And they're very tight on rooms and everything for youngsters ordinarily. And they simply said, well, as long as you've got a sleeping bag and put them up on the living room carpet, that'll do.
As long as they got. Did you ever report anything to the police, and what happened if you did?
Oh well, I avoided the whole thing altogether because they didn't seem to take account of the existing vulnerable young people I was already supporting, and I'd turn the whole thing back at them and say, well, I haven't had the training, have I? I haven't had the cultural training, so how can I possibly accept people who are asylum seekers? And I dodged a bullet, but other carers had them.
No, but I mean, did you see it going on and then do something about it and then get fobbed off?
Well, if you try and raise your profile too highly in fostering, I can assure you it's a real closed
You'll be cancelled. Yeah, and this is what the problem is. It's the same in the police, in all institutions now. They've been captured, and if you say things that you believe that are, sensible, you're out.
Oh,
and you may never work again.
If you put your head above the parapet, you can challenge anybody, but you never challenge social service.
This is the trouble in schools. Kids are being taught political ways by these teachers, and they're all cut from the same cloth, because if you speak up as a teacher, you'll never progress. You'll end up getting cancelled, you won't get promoted. Same with the police, same with the BBC, it's the same in every institution.
I'd like to ask you something, Ash, because in fact Andrew might know something about this.
Yes.
Because foster carers are self-employed, they're not classed as a worker as such.
Right.
The law doesn't still even allow whistleblowing to make that effective.
Yeah, what I love, and it's so good that you raised that point, what I love about it is we can highlight a mischief and a loophole, if you like, in the law, because people watch this programme, and more so we get some great messages, and you're turning around, what would you like to see happen? Would you like whistleblowers within the foster care system to be protected?
Yeah, well, you can't, you see, you can't, because of the strange nature of self-employment, which is rather odd in a sense, because you're a captive worker.
Yes.
You don't have the freedom of...
Can't you do it anonymously, you know, these days through email?
Yeah, but also, apart from doing it anonymously, you can also, we campaign to change the law. I'll give you an example. We had this big thing about the data use and access bill, which now turned into law. And we had lots of people in the creative industries who were automatically assumed to have given the right to scrape all the copyright and data from all over the internet. We managed to change that to say you have to get permission by people speaking out. So would you like to change the law and make sure that you can protect your whistleblowers?
Andrew, we went specially to see Timpson.
Right.
We even...
He's the guy who runs the shoe shops that actually looks after prisoners, and it's been very successful in rehabilitation.
No, it was Edward Timpson.
He's now prison minister, yeah. But he was the Timpson's shoes, and he did such a good job bringing people and actually giving them jobs in the shoe shop and turning their lives around that he's been great for it.
What did he say when you went to see him?
I don't think it's the same guy, because he was a children's minister. This time.
Oh, right.
He was still in the He was still in the family, but known for.
He can cut keys really well as well, if that's.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, we went through the public concern at work,
right,
and those were right behind us the whole time. But you know, I think he got captive. I think it's now under a different umbrella, but. Every social services has a whistleblowing policy.
Right.
But when you challenge it, it's flawed because it doesn't actually protect you. So, of course, they say all the right things in paper, but in reality, the law will not protect you for that.
Yeah, we've seen that already. I mean, we've seen what happened to that. Was terrible. The nurse who got called by a paedophile trans person, got called the N-word. She refused to use the appropriate pronouns for what this person said, and she's ended up getting suspended, and, you know, possibly more things will happen. Anyway, Jerry, sorry, anything else?
I was just going to say that I'm just wondering if whistleblowing in the police, the schools, the socials, I don't think any of it is effective, really.
No. Well, but this is it. Well, actually, you say that the whistleblowers in the West Yorkshire police situation about about white people being prejudiced. It was as a result of a whistleblower that they revealed what some of that sort of
leaked
stuff.
this
information. So this is what happened. So we would absolutely encourage whistleblowers and absolutely encourage a change in the law if necessary to protect those whistleblowers.
It's often our colleagues at the Sun and the Times. The Times did the grooming rape scandal. The Sun do loads of things like that all the time. That's why the media is so important. But the trouble is, a lot of the mass media has been captured. Anyway, I think we've got to take a little break here, have we? Yeah, so we'll be back. Give us a ring, 03444 999 1000, back in a couple of minutes.
across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
It's the James Whale Show. He's gone now and we'll be back next week from 10 p.m, so make sure you're tuned in. But it's me and Andrew Eborn, barrister, futurologist and magician.
Very good. And it's me and Sam the Eagle. Look at this. There
Yeah, I've got...
See if you can spot... Here we are. Where are? Bring the camera in. Can you spot? There we are. There's a similarity.
Have you noticed I've got purple eyebrows? I've invented a new sort of makeup fashion.
Sam the Eagle.
Make
Very
your
good.
eyebrows purple.
I know, you do look good. It's a wonderful look, you know.
I'm going to be doing that anyway. We're going to go through the papers and take your calls at the same time. It's amazing, multitasking. We'll be talking to Andrew in Bristol in a sec, but let's start with the Daily Express. Free Easter card with Moonpig.
Hurrah!
Moonpig.com.
Oh, there's an advertising.
I like the Moonpig guy. He was on Dragon Den.
He was. He's very good, wasn't
he? And he was called Moonpig at school, and
Yes.
he, bullying sort of thing. But he turned it into a positive, and now he's worth millions sitting in there. Well, he's not in Dragon's Den. Alison Steadman, I feel lucky to be alive after a fall left me seriously hurt. No, that's very sad. But she's an icon, isn't she? I once saw her in Kenwood in Hampstead, and she was sitting at a table, and I was having a coffee, and I looked at her and I thought, Alison Steadman. She was reading a book or a paper, and she put a paper down like that and looked at me, saw I was looking at her and glared.
Oh, did you?
And I was totally intimidated and immediately looked away.
Well, she's a free speech icon. She's retweeted some of my stuff.
Brilliant.
She's very,
and
very
what
good.
she's been in, Nuts in May, what that party, Abigail's party. Well, the list is endless. And she's been with James Cosmo, our mate of the show.
Yes.
She's been active with him a lot. This is a crazy story, although actually, technically, they're right. Absurd. Police arrest mother who took away kids' iPads. Yeah, police were branded absurd when a mum was held in a cell for nearly 8 hours after she confiscated her two children's iPads. Officers arrested Vanessa Brown and accused her of stealing the devices, but the history teacher says she took the tablets off her kids to encourage them to focus on schoolwork as she went to her mother's for a coffee. Police tracked the iPads to the home of the girl's grandmother in her 80s. Now, police are foolish now. Do you remember we used to have sensible police, maybe ex-military, Now they're just sort of, it is technically illegal, we better, what I mean?
It's not technically illegal. I mean,
she did steal the kids' iPads.
No, very simple. She didn't steal them. The definition of theft is that you intend to permanently deprive somebody of it.
So if I go in a shop and take something, I go, I'm going to bring it back in a couple of months.
But not permanently deprive. Absolutely, in cases have failed on that sort of basis.
But you couldn't go in a shop and take a telly and go, I'll bring it back in a couple of months.
You could borrow it for the rent.
Don't try that at home.
Don't try that at home.
Try it at Dixon's,
There must be more to this story than we're being told, but it's nonsense and absurd police arrest. Mother, if she's basically saying that you're using the iPads too much, they don't give the age of the children in this particular article. You've been using the iPads too much. She took it to her mother, grandmother, to say you can't do it. The police arrested, kept her in a cell for 8 hours. That is rubbish, isn't it?
And what happened? Did the kids call the police?
Well, I don't know. That's what I say. The story is not fully unpacked here. So clearly, probably what happened, they turned around and said, our things have been lost or stolen. They then reported it. The police managed to, with digital stuff and tracking stuff, to find it at the grandmother's, and that's probably what happened.
But they won't do that if your iPad's nicked by a real thief. They go, oh, no, we know it's in there and you know it. But
or you have the phone stolen and people are trying in London.
Or you're a member of a rape gang. No, nothing happens then. Sophie on parade as she stands in for King. Sophie was who's Prince Edward's wife.
Yes.
Was the Queen's favourite, actually. She's a great woman, apparently.
Well, Andrew was also the Queen's favourite. So I think you could...
Maybe it's not
apparently,
such a good thing.
Apparently.
Well, no, it was. It wasn't sure, wasn't he? Andrew in Bristol, you're on Talk.
Hello,
James
Andrew.
Whale Show, starring Ash with Andrew Eborn.
Very good evening to you, gentlemen, and thanks for the call. I'm amazed, and I'm 71 years old.
Happy birthday.
But in all my life, I've never known a government start electioneering months after they've been elected.
But they're not doing very well at their electioneering, are they?
Well, no, not in my eyes. They're not. Certainly not in the eyes of many people in this country.
What do you mean electioneering by, playing to who they think's going to vote for them? Is that what you mean?
Exactly. Exactly, Ash. It's blatant. It's absolutely blatant.
Yeah, they're doing it for votes, and they're foolish because the Turkish voting for Christmas, because eventually they won't get that vote.
Yeah, well, they've also got the local elections, so they're talking about that sort of stuff. Which bit of electioneering do you particularly object to?
I object to things like them not having inquiries into the rape gangs.
Absolutely.
And that's my number one hate at the moment with regards to these people. I mean, the primary reason for government, or the primary aim of government, is to keep people safe.
Yes,
protect their population, which is what they're doing the opposite. They're throwing these kids who are being, you know, raped and tortured. This is one of the worst mass crimes this country's ever experienced, and the government are part of it.
It's a stain on our reputation.
It's a total stain internationally, not just here. Internationally,
Elon Musk is probably the biggest, most important person involved in free speech ever, since he bought X and now what he's doing, and this is going out there and it's embarrassing the UK, quite rightly. And also what's going on here, it's going around the world and we look like a bunch of idiots. They can't believe what we're doing. And people going on holiday, I know you've been around, when you're here all the time, you go away on holiday and you remember how life was great. I mean, you know, what was it like when you went to Italy? Did you suddenly go, oh my God, it is really different?
And I think this is the problem, and it's about reputational damage, isn't it? Because the UK, with our two-tier system, it's a joke around the world. What we're doing, we talked about the post office scandal earlier, you've got the rape gang scandal, you've got all these scandals, free speech and that two-tier system where people are getting locked up for tweets. It makes us a laughingstock. We have to address this. We need to restore that trust.
Exactly, and then this young lady, well, there's a lady, Connolly.
Yes, Lucy Connolly, yes.
Lucy Connolly, a nice person apparently, and a great childminder. Okay, what she wrote was pretty nasty.
It's not 3 years in prison worth, and she certainly didn't incite any riots. There's actually a test, I can't remember the name in America, for actually inciting, but also she wasn't let out. Well, they're letting other criminals out. She had the right to be let out. She's got a very sick husband. He's got something wrong with his lymphatic or bone marrow, and her daughter is now suffering in school. She's having behavioural problems, and this is all because of this, yet they don't have any sympathy because they want to use her as an example for the rest of us.
Out to dry and tell people that they're not allowed to say things that they don't agree with.
And I'll give you another example. I know lots of journalists who work internationally who are scared to come in the UK because they're worried they will get arrested on some spurious
for previous things they've done.
And then what will happen is they'll take away their phones and they'll do basically a fishing exercise to try and find something to basically arrest them and charge them and so on and so forth.
Well, they did that with Alison Pearson. It was from a year before the
Absolutely.
tweet.
Actually, wasn't even sure about that stuff, and I think it was on I think it was a Remembrance Day or whatever that she was.
It was on Remembrance Sunday.
Exactly. She was about to go to church, and they broke in and caused all sorts of stress. This is wrong, and we need to call it out.
And you know what they said to her? They said, no, this is a non-crime hate incident. But then when she pushed and pressed, they said, oh no, actually it was a real crime. I think they were doing that to cover themselves from not being sued.
Wrong. It's totally wrong.
I think they will be sued. Anyway, thanks, Andrew. The Daily Mirror. Lord Gove.
Hey.
Really? Well, I mean, you know, I've seen a lot less people get in the House of Lords. You get, by the way, £350 a day just for turning up, and then all the subsidised meals. So what's that? 700, 1,400, about £1,850 a week just for turning up, and then you get subsidised. I mean, I've eaten there. You can have steaks and drink.
And you were saying your girth.
I know people. I know there was someone who worked here who's now in the House of Lords.
Yes.
Or anyone who gets in politics, they pile on the pounds because they got all these meals and it's all cheap or free, and they get really fat. I mean, look at Starmer, he's just like a thumb now, isn't
That's just like a thumb. But the other people who were knighted, they've also got Jeremy Hunt has been knighted, Grant Shapps has been knighted, and also James Cleverly has been knighted. It's all the Rishi Sunak's rewarding failure is what they call it on the Daily Mirror.
Unbelievable, yeah. Tory clown, this is the Daily Mirror, Tory clown Michael Gove, I think it should be Gov, like glove, was made a peer in Rishi Sunak's resignations honours list. It came despite his disastrous time as Education Secretary. He was among a string of ex-PM cronies given gongs after 14 years of mayhem. Labour said rewarding failure is in the Tories' DNA, but you gave Sadiq Khan a night, didn't you?
Exactly.
For services to knife crime.
You have to look at the whole honours system, and people will always call it out. You need to look at this sort of stuff. What's the criteria? So often these things are automatic. You do a particular position for a particular period of time, you get a gong. That's how it works. The reality is, in order to restore that trust, we need to make sure there's transparency and make sure that the correct people are rewarded.
Exactly. Starmer, we're taking control of British Steel. Brian Reid, and this is sort of what we're talking about with the post office, a bit an older story about Hillsborough. 36 years on from Hillsborough, and I'm still raging at the lack of justice, because what they do, they knock it in the long grass, and now most of the police and the people that were involved aren't alive anymore, so now they can...
It's absolutely scandalous, and again, it's something that should be addressed. We talk about the post office in the brilliant caller earlier. Hillsborough has been still raging, and I understand that whole thing about the lack of justice. It needs to be looked at.
Yeah, justice for the 97 as it is now. Right, let's go to Ali in West Yorkshire. She called us last night. We had a bit of a ding-dong.
Oh, do you? Hello,
what do you want to talk? What do you want to say, Ali? Have you come to your senses?
Yeah, we had a bit of a ding-dong.
Yeah, it's all right, yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't want to talk about the Middle East stuff, because, it'd just be there all night. It's just about the rape gangs, what the punishment. I think, there should be proper punishment. Executions, I'm in favour of, personally.
And what, are you part of that, of the Pakistani community up there as well?
Well, I'm British Asian, but I'm not part of these animals. No,
obviously not these. But your heritage is it Pakistani?
It's Asian, yes, yeah. My grandfather came to this country from British India because he served in the British Indian Army.
Right.
So at the time, after partition, he came to this country. So.
But what is your view on... I mean, you speak out about it, but a lot of people aren't from your community or similar communities aren't speaking out about it. And as Andrew said earlier, if we have more people like that pressuring the government to do it, they might listen. Probably not.
Yeah. People are scared to speak out about it, but I guarantee you 99.9% of our community, they want real punishment. They want people...
But why aren't they speaking out? Why aren't they coming on, ringing here? I mean, I know you are, but why aren't there, hundreds of them ringing in and going...
And it's exactly right, Alice. The point I was making earlier is that when you and your community and your colleagues and so on and so forth, it's the majority, absolutely law-abiding citizens, you deplore that behaviour. When you have the brave side and you can actually call it out, that's going to help the situation get addressed.
Yeah, well, a lot of people on social media call it out. There definitely is a lot of, it's just that people are scared, I think, probably that's why.
They are scared. I mean, the other thing, when they do go to court, they sometimes get done for rape. Some of them got as little as 3 years, but it's never racially aggravated, and we know from the stories, when they're calling them, a white this and a white that, it is obviously a racial element, and yet they're avoiding that, which increases the sentence a lot.
It is a racial element, definitely.
Of course it's racist.
They have also abused Asian girls as well.
Well, I know. I saw a guy from the Sikh community and the Hindu community, and he was saying, we teach our girls, because, I mean, they knew about this from the homeland. They knew what was going on, and they taught their girls. And instead of this adolescence thing, we should be sending a film about that and telling girls how to avoid... Well, I mean, one was a fiction. This would be an actual real thing. Show them a film, or there was documentaries about it, and show girls if guys are coming up to you and offering you this and that. Or, although that girl on Kev, they just grabbed her and stuck her in the car.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's blatant.
Can I ask you something, Ali? Because a lot of the times people are suggesting that politicians, the government at the moment, are scared of losing the Muslim vote. What you're saying... I know, but this is why it's so important, which I think is so important to hear your voice on it and your colleagues' voice on that. They're misguided on this, aren't they?
Definitely. I think they hide behind that because there's massive cover-up. They hide behind this Muslim, a total nonsense.
Yeah, cowards, aren't they? And also, a lot of them were involved in it. And also, as we know, we've already got 5 MPs who won, for various reasons. We've got MPs from Birmingham where you've got rats the size of donkeys running around, moaning not about that. They're saying they want an airport near so they don't have to travel for 3 hours. So we're getting actual people...
I've seen some of the stuff on TikTok about the rats.
Oh.
They're just awful.
Oh, it is awful. No, well, they always say in London you're never more than 10 feet away from a rat in
There used to be. Well, you see a lot of rats in London.
That's awful.
Actually,
no, that's what they do.
I mean, in Birmingham, it's like...
Thankfully, up here in Beeston, Leeds, it's not as bad as in Birmingham.
No, well, no, as long as you don't get a strike. But I mean, if these now that the weather's getting warmer, these rubbish stuff. Some of the residents are threatening to set it on fire. Which I mean, maybe there should be a controlled fire by the council because this is ridiculous.
Oh, it is ridiculous.
Viles disease, which you can can die within a year,
Yes.
within a day. If you accidentally get a bit of saliva from a rat and touch it into any moist part of you, you can die within 24 hours. So if this starts happening, it's going to be a massive public health. Well, I think it already is a health.
And well, the warning was that it's going to spread, and there are going to be other councils who are going to have similar sort of problems. So we need
we'll
to
get the
sort of look at that
bubonic
sort of
plague again.
Yeah, my real thing about obviously ringing up you guys was just to say, like, why can't there be like proper punishment? Like, I'm talking 100-year prison sentence, because we don't have capital punishment. So just like lock them forever and never see.
So are you in favour? I think you mentioned this at the very beginning. Are you in favour of the death penalty?
For child rapists and serial killers, I am, yes.
Okay. And the others in your community...
So if you kill once, you're all right.
And the others in your community, because what they're doing, they're denigrating...
No, there should be life sentences.
Life sentences.
That's what they... When they got rid of the death penalty, they said, don't worry, everyone. Anyone get caught will get a full life sentence. That didn't happen. And they also, you know, people who go, oh, it doesn't deter people. When they got rid of hanging, they did a moratorium where they cancelled it for a year. Murder went up sky high in that year and then came down. So it is rubbish. It is a big deterrent. You wouldn't get kids stabbing each other, not caring if they knew they were going to get their necks stretched.
Well, exactly. But also, another side of the argument is obviously we look at America. They have capital punishment and the crimes just through the roof. They have like massive incarceration, prison population. So I don't know what would work, to be honest.
It's just, I mean, it's unbelievable. In America, I was talking to someone. I mean, they have more shootings in a day, I think, than we've had in the last century. Literally, there's about 100 people a day shot dead in America, and that you take years to get to that in this country. Anyway, thanks, Sally. Yeah, we'll get there. The Sun, get 2 Thorpe Park tickets. Yeah, forget Universal Studios thingy. Oh, yeah, isn't it great? Look, we've got Jaws. You can get Thorpe Park tickets in The Sun, 26,000 tickets free. And Harry, Royals tried to trap me. Oh, he is moaning, ginger whinger.
What he was saying in court, he said this is the reason they take away the security, is that he's trying to be trapped. The Royals were trying to trap him into staying in the UK, and they thought that if they took away his security, he'd effectively be forced to stay here rather than lose it.
Yeah, well, it's part of the job.
I was there in the court.
Oh, were you?
Things.
What were you doing? Tell us about it,
man. I went to some of the hearings previously with Harry, and sitting there, and he looked like a forlorn character. And what's happening here?
That's Meghan's fault.
And what's happening here on this situation is taking away the security. The argument is, to what extent, if you're a non-working Royal, you don't get the protection that you normally get, and he had to give 30 days notice or whatever it is, and decide on a case-by-case basis. What haunts him is obviously what happened to his mother, and he's got this big thing about the paparazzi and so on and so forth, and needing security and other bits and pieces. Taking it away, he says, threatens him and his family.
But I mean, in the meantime, he's gone to your war zone in Ukraine, and he also announced he killed 19 Taliban.
And exactly that sort of stuff. So you've got to put all of that in perspective. The other reality is the feud between him and his father and his brother is becoming more and more apparent.
He called them racist. He didn't see his grandfather before he died. You know, even in his book wrote about how he went into the room and there was, you know, King Charles, Prince Charles at the time, in his boxer shorts. Now, you shouldn't write that even about your dad, but he was the king. The King Charles would have been mortified. And how would you ever talk to Harry? Because you wouldn't know what he might report it. And also, you know, once he does meet Prince Charles, or King Charles, as he is now, then he'll have more of an excuse to go, well, I'm meeting King Charles, I need the security. Once he's sort of been pushed out, isn't he? And William, I think they've real feud.
Well, and this is sad. I mean, sad when there's division.
It's very sad.
When there's division in any family, it's sad. When that division plays out in the public eye, it's even worse.
But he's the one that's done that.
Oh no, when you're writing a book,
calling them racist.
When you're writing a book, and the publishers, that's what they want. Most books, I can tell you, most autobiographies or biographies if they're written by somebody else, what they do, the first thing they do is work out the index. So they check, Ash, there's several chapters on the naughty stuff on Ash.
Yeah.
We can sell that for serialisation. So publishers are always pushing for this sort of scandal. If you're going to do that, it's clear it's going to cause rift in the family. And I know somebody who's written, well, Mike Batt I was speaking to, the fantastic guy who did the Wombles. What he did in his brilliant book, he wrote round to everybody he mentioned and said, and he showed them the bit of the chapter and said, would you mind if I said this? And if they did object, he wouldn't put it in. So interesting way of doing it. difficulty with publishers, they're always forcing you to go for the sensational. It was P.T. Barnum, the great showman, who said, if you want to draw a crowd, start a fight. Well, that's exactly what's happening here.
That's a new one for the bingo card.
That's a new one for the bingo card.
We can make bigger bingo cards.
Bigger bingo cards.
Right, Luke in Bromley.
Hello, Luke.
Luke the entrepreneur in Bromley.
Hello.
Hi.
How you doing, Luke? What do you want
guys? Ash, you're doing a fine job. Well done, mate.
Thanks,
very
mate.
good, very good. Love it. Both of you, of course, but yeah, Ash is the helm. Right, I'm phoning up about Chinese explosion in terms of like what's going to happen to China.
Yes.
They're going down. It's incredible to watch.
Well, my mate, I mean, they've got 145% tariffs. My mate, who's quite a big economist, he said to me a couple of years ago, I don't know why no one's talking about China. It's about to fail big time.
It's over-leveraged by the hilt. I mean, listen, they're trying to stand up for freedom of trade around the world and stuff. The truth is they're the ones who broke it in the first place. They did it by cheating, by lying, by putting on under making things at a loss.
They've got massive cities that no one lives in that they built in like a couple of years with skyscrapers and everything.
Their whole policy is make way beyond above demand, fill the world with it, and then eventually you shut down the competition and you take over.
So is this all failing, and is this going to bring down the world economy along with these tariff Trump?
It's going to change the world economy for sure. I mean, look.
Well, not in a good way, isn't it?
Well, the thing is, as I say, the reason why they're taking over too many industries, too many things from medicine to cars to whatever, and then eventually they just take control and they get political manoeuvre, and eventually, obviously, as America's learned, they lost loads of jobs and money over it.
Well, what about Taiwan? If it starts messing up, Taiwan is the only place in the world that really makes the microprocessor chips now. It should be America because they invented it, but it takes years to set up a factory, and China obviously want to take over, and they said they're going to.
Yeah,
Would this be the excuse they need, their economy failing, to go into Taiwan, and then we're going to see World War III beginning?
Well, they're also manoeuvring in position of that to defend Taiwan. That's America. But look, the tariffs and the trade, what's happened is for years they've had tariffs like America, and they all get tariffs on them, but they've tried to divert those by selling via Vietnam, via all these islands, and stuff, shipping it straight to America to avoid the tariffs.
But won't they realise they're doing that?
Well, they have. That's why they talked about the Penguin Island, which is completely deserted. So they basically impose the same tariffs on them.
Well, that's how Russia was getting around the oil in bungos. It was just selling it direct to India and direct to China.
And China have done it for years. Since they joined the World Trade Organization in 2001, they've basically given free helm to the whole world of trade. And they negotiated a few things and they took over. They're buying up ports. They obviously... interestingly, what they did was they took on building loads of things to countries like railway lines to Kenya and stuff, and said, "Look, Mr. Kenyan government."
The Belt Initiative. I mean, they're building it. They're basically colonising a lot of African states for minerals.
If you fail to pay up, then we basically, in the small print, have the option to buy, say, Mombasa port.
And it's really important. You make a really good point, because it is following the money and the reasons for it. So I was mentioning the Heard and McDonald Islands. That's the one they imposed the tariffs on, even though it's deserted and there's only penguins there. They were saying that some countries would use those islands to ship some goods there and then into America to get round it. So that's why they imposed the tariffs there.
But Trump's not going to fall for that one, is
no, exactly. So that's why he imposed the tariffs on that sort of basis.
And look at the Chagos Islands, Mauritius and that are trying to basically go...
Well, what China's done, they've responded with some of these memes. I don't know if you've seen a particularly good one. They showed a picture of a penguin wearing a red cap, looked like a MAGA cap, saying, "Make America go away," is what it said on that sort of basis. But you're interested. What do you think is going to happen? How do you think it's going to play out then between America and the US?
And us.
Well, I think it's going to play out in a way that Trump is not going to give in to China unless they heavily agree to, stop filling the world with all this stuff. America needs to take the place of China's manufacturing and, try and take it.
But they've got 5 times the population of the States. You can't really compete. Anyway, Luke, we could speak all night, but we've got to go. We're taking your calls the last bit. 0344. Well, don't bother. We've got a full board. We're going through the papers. We're going through your calls. This is James Wells Show. He's gone home, but he'll be back from 10 next week. It's Talk.
UK. On DAB+. On your smart speaker. On your smart TV. And on your side. This is Talk.
Right, yeah, it's the James Wells show, but he's gone home, back from next week 10, so it's me and Andrew Eborn taking your calls and go through all the papers. Times, what happened when I took a dementia test by Professor Tim Spector, that's in the Times, weekend portion, and meet Britain's new power couple, I don't know who they are. Trump aid, we can split up Ukraine like Berlin. Yeah. President Trump's envoy to Ukraine has said the country could be partitioned almost like Berlin after World War II as part of the peace deal. That turned out well. In an interview with the Times, General Keith Kellogg, I wonder if he's related to the Kellogg cornflake.
Well, wouldn't that be wonderful? I was rather hoping that. But,
yeah, I like Cocoa Pops. And,
do you like Cocoa Pops?
I'm more a Shreddies. Oh, no, Shreddies isn't Kellogg's, is it? No. Crunchy Nut cornflakes, though, they're addictive. I once ate it, and it's true, you do become a crunchy nut. How do you like your eggs done? You know, you got a wasp in your ear. Oh, no, that's...
something completely different, but it sounds good. The worrying thing is this.
Back.
The worrying thing about this is what Russia said. They made it very, very clear that they would not accept peacekeeping troops from any NATO country under any circumstances. So this idea about the Trump aid saying we could split it like Berlin, it's not right. Yeah. And it's just going to cause more problems. And obviously, if you put troops on the ground, then you have an attack, then one attack against the NATO members attack against everybody. It's a terrible idea.
Right, the 5-minute home workout there, that's in the Times. The day my teen son told me he was a porn addict and my 20 horrific years as an NHS patient, that's the Times. Let's go to Graham in West London. Graham.
Hello, Graham.
Everybody in the wholesale block, they're too damn to my jailhouse, right?
He's like our Bob Dylan. Ken in London, hallelujah.
Good morning, everybody.
Hello, Ken.
Good morning, Andrew and Ash.
Thanks, man.
Listen, I'd like to just very briefly tell you what's going to happen in the future.
Okay, man, if you could.
Prophesied in Scripture.
Like Uri Geller on
There's a 7-year peace treaty going to be signed between Israel and 10 nations. The 10 nations will be led by the coming Antichrist. Then there will be an establishment of world government. After that, Russia and Iran will invade Israel and be destroyed by the God of Israel. Then there'll come the most severe inflation in human history. After that, starvation will take over the world. Then the mark of the beast will be established. Millions of Christians are going to be slaughtered. There will be a total loss of freedom for all society. Billions of humans are going to die. Then Israel and Jerusalem will burden the world, and it will result in the battle of Armageddon and the second coming of the Lord Jesus Christ. This is where we're headed.
Who's going to win the Champions League?
This is where we're headed.
Yeah.
What we see happening in the world is only a very early sign of the developing problems coming to the world. I want to encourage you to read tonight Revelation.
You always give us homework at the weekend, Ken. Homework, man.
Ash, Revelation chapter 6. If you want to know history...
Is that... I've only got the Old Testament at home, obviously. Is that our Old Testament?
That's the New Testament.
Well, I've not got that, have I? That'd be a sacrilege if I had.
What does it say? What does it say? Give us it in a nutshell, Ken. What does it say?
I'll get a spank bottom.
What does Revelation 6 say?
Maybe I should get it.
And it tells us about the coming, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse.
Right.
It tells us about the coming judgment of God during the coming period of great tribulation. This is not religion. This is all. I can give you all the scriptures, but there's no time.
No,
I'm telling you what the Bible says. You can believe it if you don't. It's entirely up to you.
Thanks, Ken. Sorry.
This is Easter time.
You said you were going to be brief, but go on. It's also Passover. Happy Pesach, Ken.
Remember, Jesus is coming,
Easter,
boys. He's coming.
Pesach. Are you going to...
died for our sins on the cross. He died for us.
And
he's coming back soon.
He always goes when he's doing that.
Andrew, you seem to be a reasonably minded man.
Okay, so very good.
Funniest thing you've ever said.
Ken, let's finish on a positive note. I get all the bits and pieces with the references. Give us a positive message for Easter.
Has he got any positive message?
Positive? Here's the most positive message in the world. Whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord Jesus in repentance and faith shall be saved from hell.
Oh, that's good news.
Thank you, Ken.
That is very good news. The Daily Telegraph. Harry, how have they tried to trap me in the firm?
Yeah, this is a strange case. Again, they're talking about it, what they talked about in court, saying that he was taking it away and they wanted, the mission was to keep him in the UK.
A police chief, I want to discriminate against white candidates. Well, that is illegal.
No,
You, as a
scandalous.
policeman, you should uphold the law, not break it. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
The man it's Talk. It's a James Wales show. He was here for over an hour and 36 minutes. He'll be back next week, same time, same place. We've got Graham and Gemma and Pat and Steve and Gary and Lawrence and Angela. But so we'll be calling you up in a sec. This Daily Star,
Yes.
The Budgies smuggler, and apparently this guy, a stunned pet shop owner, caught a man on CCTV stealing prized birds by stuffing them down the front of his tracksuit bottoms. If they're under 200 quid, they'll just let you go, don't they? But it's very cruel for the budgie. Did you know? I never knew this, but
Yes.
the budgie was the most popular pet in the 1950s.
No, they did. They used to love
I
those.
didn't know that. I mean,
everybody used to have them.
Yeah, my mother, everyone used to have them in the food. My mother had one, I think, I can't remember the name, but she said it used to come down onto my grandpa's beer. He'd be drinking a bit and it would drink the beer like, oops.
They would, but they used to be. I think I remember on the Crankies. Do you remember the Crankies and Leslie Crowther and Crackerjack?
Crackerjack!
I know 5 to 5.
But do you
I used to have these little budgies.
Do you remember the scandal with the Crankies? It turns out it wasn't a schoolboy. It was no, it was a schoolboy, but the man was actually a woman with curly hair, and there was some. And then Jimmy Cranky became the king of Scotland.
There you go.
Do you remember that? And free panini stickers, but don't get too excited. It's
Yes.
women's football panini stickers. Only joking, but it is a. You know, sometimes you listen to the news and they go Aston Villa beat Chelsea 3, and you go, oh, really? And then you go, it's. I know you should like it the same, but free Easter card, Moonpig again with the Daily Star. Moonpig's really going for it, isn't it? Yeah. And King Salah signed, so obviously he must have signed another contract with Liverpool. Great player, isn't he? Great, amazing player.
Every time I turn, Ash, I'll tell you what happens. There's this little cord. I'm going to get a longer one next week.
Comes out,
it
yeah,
keeps
you
coming
need
out, which is the reason I'm going under the desk each time. But there you go.
Yeah, I wondered why you were going.
No, thank you. It's all there.
Dr. Mosley's new Fast 800 Ozempic diet. Dr. Michael Mosley's doctor's son, Jack. Oh, so that's his son carrying the mantle for his father. It was terrible what happened to him. He went walking out in some very hot sun.
Yeah, that was awful.
And this is unbelievable. Well, not really unbelievable, is it? Sleeping on the job. 11:53 a.m. NHS England chief Sir Jim Mackey tells MPs he'll pick up the pace of change. At 3:23, he's pictured fast asleep in first class with Netflix on as he runs the health service asleep from a rail carriage.
Can I put a different spin on this? I mean, a poor guy, we've all fallen asleep.
You can't sleep when you're running the NHS.
No, but he's on a train and people snapping away. We've all slept on a train. And people
we're not running the NHS.
No, but he's not running the NHS. He's on a
asleep.
train.
A few people can die when they can't get their diagnosis.
He has a doze.
And it's this great thing, adolescence. So now
I'll tell you the other thing. The worrying thing.
That's why I fell asleep.
The other worrying thing they do say though is that he went to the loo. They're all tracking him, stalkers obviously. And he left his laptop open. Now, if you're a journalist, that's the more worrying thing. All the data that you've got, that sort of information. I also think the data is the new currency. That's another bingo thing.
Bingo! Always called house.
But anybody asleep on a train, I do have sympathy for. I work on that sort of basis. But leaving your laptop, that's got so many people into problems. So a warning to everybody.
I just don't think you should be asleep at 3. You shouldn't be travelling at 3:23 on the... Anyway, snoozing in first class in the middle of the working day. This is the new head of the NHS hired to tackle inefficiency.
Yes.
Yeah, that's efficient sleeping. Sir Jim Mackey vowed to MPs on Tuesday he would pick up the pace of reform after the day when he's just having a kip. He'll do it the next day. Then the newly installed chief executive of the NHS England went straight from the House of Commons to a first-class train carriage where he started watching Netflix before dozing off.
Yes.
Nice. The Mail... So we're paying for him while he's asleep. He could be working on the train.
He could be thinking while he's asleep. Also,
he might come out of a dream. I just dreamt how to cure the NHS.
How to cure the thing, yes.
No, it probably isn't. The Mail can reveal Sir Jim is running the NHS from a train carriage as he commutes 1,200 miles a week. Oh, so this is regular between the office in London and his home in Northumberland. So he must be on the train for hours a day.
He is on the motor, apparently.
Well, he's not working on the train, so he must only be working half an hour at a time. Yeah, I bet he's having the big meals at a subsidised expense.
Like the House of Lords.
Well, it'll all be on expenses. He was put in charge of the health service and its 1.5 million staff. And anyway, he left his laptop. You're right, unlocked when he went to the toilet.
See?
Yeah, you should have put a message on there. You know what I mean?
Yes, we know you're watching me, little journalist.
But that is actually very dangerous because someone could have put a sort of hacking chip.
Never,
ever.
And carrying stuff around, it could get stolen. And you get people leaving laptops in taxis and so on and so forth. Lots of these cases you hear about.
MI5 people. You even hear armed police leaving their guns in toilets. That's happened before.
There you go. It's terrible. And they never learn. We take lessons will be learned. They're not learned. This is why it keeps getting repeated.
No one's learning any lessons, yeah. So anyway, well, that's about it. You know, it's Talk James. It was great having James
on. And he was on fine form. I was so pleased.
Really was. I mean,
good to see
him. Oh, no, he's not, because I didn't see a message on Twitter. I thought, oh, no, he's not coming in. And then it was great, you know, to see him in here. And he really was, he did it well. And hopefully he's looking to get better and from this and... he's got that fatigue thing, so...
but it's a wonderful insight. What I love is, and what they should do an action figure of him.
Well, did you see someone did on Twitter? Nicely done.
Really? If
you go up Virtual Ash, you can see it. They did a me and James action figure. There's also a Mike Graham one, and there was a few other ones as well.
I think I'm the only person in the world who hasn't got an action figure.
Yeah, do an Andrew Ebel one. But I'd like to actually buy those figures. Chuck's going to have one for next time.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah, man. And it'll have a bingo card and trust on horseback and all that. You pull a string and trust comes on horseback and leaves on foot. Or the other way around.
I can tell you I can't do it. I can tell you exclusively that they are doing a manga character of me, which is a game on Roblox, doing fake or fact.
That's the Japanese cartoons that teenagers have funny things about, don't they?
So manga, they're going to do a manga Andrew Ebel. It's coming out later this year, fake or fact, and it's going to be a game on Roblox and other platforms, so it's going to be an interesting time.
That is fantastic. Again, I'm lucky to be alive. That's what's her name? Alison Steadman. Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah, but keep it Talk TVs. Well, no, don't call now because well, you can call because it's going to be Marty and Mark who are going to be Talk Sport and Talk TV collective